Antanasha Pretendant versus Marcus Warren.
For the record, this matter is before the court on plaintiff's motion to modify and address the issue of transportation of the minor child for parenting time purposes, utilization of app close for communication between the parties, as well as the plaintiff's petition for to show cause, alleging that the defendant has failed to pay child support and has not maintained health care coverage for the child. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is the attorney Kirsten Nemec, representing the plaintiff mother, and the plaintiff mother, Miss Tanja, appears to be present, and defendant father Marcus Warren is also present. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Your Honor.
The parties have conferred with Mr. Walker from the front of the court this morning. Mr. Walker has provided the court with the recommendation that this matter be adjourned until June 4th, 2024 at 2:30, so the defendant can obtain an attorney. Mr. Warren, obviously you've known about this motion for a couple of weeks now, and unfortunately you can't just adjourn this matter for one week. I just have a very busy, congested docket. So the court's willing to adjourn this matter, but Ms. Nemec, does anything require immediate attention today?
Your Honor, Ms. Crittenden understands that it was likely that the court would give Mr. Warren some time to obtain counsel, so she has agreed to the adjournment. She would have liked to address everything today, but there's nothing immediately pressing. It's my understanding that upon receipt of this motion, Mr. Warren began paying child support again, so that's good. It's also my understanding that front of the court, a show cause has been issued through the front of the court, and that's already scheduled for May 23rd. So that will be handled prior to us coming back on June 4th. So with all of that in place, I think we're okay to adjourn it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Nemec. Mr. Warren, what about the health care coverage? When you come back, first of all, I'm telling you, you need to, now you pay current support, you need to catch up on the arrears. So when you come back in June, the court needs to see significant progress, because you're not going to be dealing just with the front of the court, you're going to be dealing with this judge. And also health care coverage. Did you lose your job? Are you without health care coverage?
Yes, I lost a job, and it's a lot behind it because it was once on the job that I'm on now, but it got removed because I was paying through two different jobs. But when I lost my main job, I asked the court to mandate them to put me back on it, and they still had not done it yet. So I guess I have to call my HR and see why they have not placed me on healthcare yet.
Okay, obviously you need to give this matter your attention between now and June 4th. It gives you time to address this matter. Are you a member of a union?
No.
Okay, well, meet with your HR department and tell them that you are obligated to maintain healthcare coverage for the benefit of your child. Let's hopefully get that straightened out between now and then.
Your Honor, I had my case manager, I guess, at front of the court, send them something, and they still have not done anything yet. What next step do you think I should take after already, speaking with this matter?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time understanding you, Mr. Warren. I'm not sure if it's your microphone, your device. It's I'm not capturing everything you're saying. So I don't know. Are you asking the court a question? Ms. Nemec, did you understand the question?
I did not. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
My apologies. I have a deep voice.
Did you have a question, Mr. Warren?
Yes, because I had already talked to a friend of the court and told them, could they send something to my job to mandate them to put me on health care, and they said they did, and my job hasn't done anything yet. What should I do beyond this?
Okay. Well, I'm not sure that's the front of the court's obligation. You should provide the front of the court. You're your employer with a copy of the order. It's not the front of the court. So they're not your lawyer. I mean, if there's an order, you should secure the order from the front of the court, and you provide that to your HR department. Ms. Nemec, are you in possession of the order that requires the healthcare coverage? What was it attached to your motion?
I have a uniform child support order, and it states that both parties will maintain healthcare coverage for the benefit of the minor child. I can provide that to him. He should already have it because it is attached to the motion. Okay,
so attached to the motion is it's a form. It's, I believe, 3 pages called Uniform Child Support Order. That you want to provide to your employer. So that's got provides for, it says both parties shall maintain healthcare coverage for the benefit of the child. Okay, so Mr. Warren, don't wait till June 1st to hire an attorney and have that attorney reach out to Ms. Nemec. Maybe these issues can be addressed between the attorneys between now and the time to come back for June 4th. That's the whole goal here. Okay, the court will adopt a recommendation. Will adjourn us to June 4th, 2:30, for Mr. Warren to consult an attorney. And you'll be mailed a copy of this notice, Mr. Warren. So mark on your book and get it to Zoom hearing, June 4th, 2:30. So keep the court Zoom ID number, okay?
Okay. You said the same ID number?
Yes, keep the same, it'd be Zoom ID. So keep the court Zoom ID number, because this notice will just say that, just have the new date and time on it. It won't have the Zoom ID number, so keep that. Okay, and provide that to your attorney, okay? I'm sorry?
I'll straighten it out. Because you guys had the wrong address. That's why I didn't know anything about the hearing until late. It's the wrong address.
Okay, you have an obligation to keep the front of the court informed. What is your current address, Mr. Warren?
I told him. Nathan has the address. He's been here. He has the address.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, Mr. Walker, were you able to capture Mr. Warren's new address?
Your Honor, was it? I wasn't sure if it was Core Street.
43615.
And
Okay,
Mr.
you have a
Warren,
lot number?
Lot 42.
Yes, lot 42.
Right. Mr. Warren, you need to come down to the Monroe County front of the court and fill out a form. You have an obligation to keep in front of the court informed of any change of address. So when you don't get notices, that it falls on you. You need to come in the front of the court and fill out a form. It's called a change of address form. So Mr. Walker's going to mail you this notice, but future notices will be mailed to your address on file, which is Eaton Road in Toledo, Ohio. So you need to come down to the front of the court. Can he do that online, Mr. Walker? Or does he actually need to physically come into the courthouse to sign that change of address?
The form is at the front desk of the front of the court, Your Honor.
Okay, so he can't do that online, correct? He's got to actually physically come into the courthouse.
Leave, so I can mail it to him. I can mail it to him, and he can mail it back if he wants.
Okay, yeah, we can mail that. Thank you, Mr. Walker. We're trying to make things easy as possible for you, Mr. Warren. So, Mr. Walker's going to mail you the form. You need to fill it out and return to the front of the court so that you get. And whenever you move in the future, you need to keep the front of the court informed of any change of address.
Will do.
Okay. All right. This matter is adjourned to June 4th, 2:30. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Nemec. Everyone can zoom out. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. You said that what are you talking about the 23rd?
I don't know what time the May 23rd is. You have to call friend of the court.
No, I don't know. What's going on May 23rd?
That's your show cause hearing.
It has to do with child support. Let me see if I can find it in the court file here, Mr. Warren. But again, that's why it's so important that you keep the front of the court informed of any address changes, because you're not getting your notices, and that's falls on you. Let me see if I can find it in the court file. May 23rd, 11 a.m., and that's with referee McKee. Key, M-C-K-E-E, and we'll give you a Zoom ID number. Do you have a piece of paper and a pen?
Yes, give me one moment.
All right, Mr. Warren, we have other court matters this morning. We're not your personal secretary,
Okay,
so you can call the front of the court.
Okay, I will.
You ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
720.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. You're all set.
Ok. Cette réunion est diffusée en direct. Ok. Cette réunion est diffusée en direct, toute personne aura accès. Ok. Et après quoi? Ah, je crois que c'est bon. C'est qui ces personnes?
Middle page 1, Naomi Marciano versus Aaron Kinsel.
For the record, this matter is before the court this morning for the purpose of reviewing custody and parenting time issues. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Stephen Rodenberg, representing the plaintiff mother, Naomi Marciano Kinsel. Ms. Kinsel is present. In addition, Attorney Dominic Camden is present, representing the defendant father, Aaron Kinsel, and Mr. Kinsel is present. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Morning, Judge. Morning, Your Honor.
Parties have conferred with Ms. LaPratt in front of the court this morning. Mr. LaPratt has made the provided court final recommendation that by agreement of the parties, physical custody shall be granted to the defendant father at this point in time of the 12-year-old minor child of the parties. Mother shall have reasonable and liberal parenting time in Michigan and should continue to have reasonable and liberal phone or video contact with the minor child. The issue of child support is to be reserved. That recommendation, Mr. Rodenberg, is this recommendation will be with your client this morning?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Hamden, is this recommendation will be with your client this morning?
It is, Your Honor, and I do not need to bloody my client.
All right, Mr. Rosenberg, do you wish to voir dire your client regarding this recommendation this morning?
Yes, very briefly.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Kinsel, can you both please raise your right hand to be sworn, please?
Yes,
Your Honor.
Thank
I do,
you.
Your
All
Honor.
right, Mr. Rosenberg, if you want to voir dire Ms. Marciano, please.
Okay, Nomi, is this the agreement that we agreed to?
Absolutely.
You realize that if we would have gone to court in the motion, you might have gotten a different result, better or worse? You might have gotten the same result too.
I'm sorry, say that again. I might not have understood everything.
Okay, let me back up. You realize that by agreeing, you're waiving the right to a hearing on this matter in front of the judge.
No, I'm not realizing it. That I misunderstood. I'm so sorry.
Never mind, never mind. It's you agreed to this, correct? You agreed to the agreement.
Okay, so we're talking about physical custody. We're talking about child support being reserved, and that's it.
Yeah, and the parenting time.
Parenting time, yes, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay.
All right, the court will assume this recommendation says joint legal. Joint legal, so Mr. Finzo would share with Ms. Marciano any medical treatment decisions regarding the minor child. Is that correct? So it's joint legal, physical to father. Mr. Hamden, is that your understanding?
My understanding, Judge, is that they're going to joint legal custody. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the parties will continue to share joint legal, just physical, and this time to the defendant father. All right. To Mr. Hamden, do you have any questions of either Ms. Marciano or Mr. Kinsel?
I do not, Judge.
All right. Right, Ms. Marciano, do you believe this recommendation is in the best interest of your daughter at this point in time?
Okay, just to make sure, you're asking if the joint legal custody would be the best in the best interest of my daughter?
And physical to dad at this point in time. It can change in the future, but at this point in time today.
We're talking both. You're talking physical, I'm sorry, or legal?
Well, both. Joint legal, physical to dad at this point in time. Do you believe that would be the best interest of your daughter?
Okay, so if you need me to answer quickly, I will say that the physical custody should be given to Aaron. Yes, if you want a short answer. And as far as the legal custody, I definitely believe that the custody should be joint.
Yes, it will be. The question is, do you believe this is in the best interest of Lily at this point in time?
I am so sorry that I misunderstood. I completely believe this is in her best interest. Otherwise, honestly, Your Honor, I would not have decided in this direction.
Did you capture that? Okay, I'm not sure if I
think she said in a long-winded way, yes.
All right. All right, Mr. Finzel, do you believe this recommendation is in the best interest of your daughter?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, the court will adopt the recommendation, enter the order presented by Ms. LaPrade. Is there anything further this morning, Mr. Rosenberg or Mr. Hamden?
Dominic, if you could get me a copy of that letter you referred to so I could have a copy of it in my file and forward it to Ms. Marciano.
I got it yesterday evening when I got your email. I'll email it this afternoon.
Okay, cool.
All right, so that will conclude this hearing. The court would encourage Mr. Kinsel try to facilitate regular contact between your daughter and her mom. It's very important that she have that contact with her mom. So please facilitate that, make it happen for your daughter. And with that, that will conclude this hearing. The court will adopt the recommendation. Thank you all, and that will the court. You can all zoom out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Judge. See you tomorrow.
I don't know how to zoom out.
You hit leave meeting.
There's no leave.
There's a box in the corner that says leave meeting in red.
For the record, this matter is before the court. And the defendant's motion for temporary possession of the minor child. And this hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Kirsten Nemec, representing the plaintiff Mother Hope Smith. Ms. Smith is present. In addition, Attorney Jason Kaczmarek is present, representing the defendant father, David Cieslak. Mr. Cieslak is present with Mr. Kaczmarek. For the record, the court would note that an ex parte order was entered by Judge Lohmeyer in this court's absence on April 12th, 2024, awarding defendant father temporary possession of the 12-year-old child of the parties. reserving plaintiff mother's parenting time. Parties have conferred this morning with the front of the court. It was by the court the following recommendation: that the ex parte order shall be vacated. The child needs to be returned to school today immediately. The minor child shall have his phone at all times. The child shall have reasonable phone contact with both parents. Neither party shall interfere with communication between the child and the other parent. And this recommendation resolves all parenting time complaints through today. So presumably the prior parenting time order would continue, namely father's parenting time in the first 3 weekends of the month, Friday at 6 to Sunday at 6, and the fourth week he has parenting time Wednesday at 6 to Friday at 6. That's the court's recollection. Ms. Nemec, is this recommendation agreeable with your client this morning?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Kaczmarek, is this recommendation agreeable with your client?
It's not.
Okay.
I mean, according to the police report, Leon states, well, he's been pretty consistent that he was in an argument with his mother in a vehicle, that he was hit and kicked out of the car by her, by Suter by Kroger, and had to walk to his mother's house. He told this both to my client and the police, and mother admits that she did kick him out of the car to make him walk to cool off. There's disagreement on the location where he was let out of the vehicle. There's also disagreement that he actually got hit. I met with Leon myself. He was pretty descriptive. He wants to be heard, Judge. I know he'd love to talk to you. I know that probably isn't going to happen, but he wants his voice to be heard. He wants to tell the front of the court, he wants to tell somebody how he feels. So after he was kicked out of the vehicle, he did walk to his mother's house, where they continued to argue. He tried to call for help to his dad. The phone was taken by his grandfather mid-recording, so he'd actually dialed the phone. His father's voicemail answered, and there was a voicemail recording where he was yelling, "You know what you did?" Said he wanted to call his dad, that he just wanted to tell dad what happened. Grandfather took his phone, and grandfather who lives with his mother, kind of said, "Wah, wah," he had to walk home, big deal. So after that, Leon, the minor child, says that they told him, they said, "Get the fuck out of my house," is what he says. He left the home, and he was yelling, "You can't stop me," because mom was trying to get him back. He ended up walking to the Dollar General, which allegedly is about 2 miles away, called his father, pick him up.
Mr. Kaczmarek, Mr. Kaczmarek, rest assured the court has read every piece of pleading that has been filed.
Yes. I understand. So again, aside from that, I did talk to Leon today. He's been pretty consistent. He's not comfortable at his mom's house right now, he tells me. He just wants to be able to tell that to somebody who can express that to the court. And I know I'm probably not the right person being dad's attorney, but he would like to speak to somebody. I asked him what kind of parenting time he'd like with his mom. He said he didn't know. But I asked him, he said he'd like a therapist. When I discussed that would be an option. He wants therapeutic parenting time so he can start to reconnect with his mom on a different emotional level, because he says that they don't know how to speak anymore together. He just feels kind of overwhelmed at that house with grandfather and grandmother and mother there, that and mom's at his school. He's not comfortable, and he just wants to be able to express that. That's what he wants. So that's what I'm asking for, Judge.
All right. And if Mr. Pratt, do you think there's any merit in you interviewing this minor child? Again, before I get an answer to that, we have a 12-year-old boy that's not going to drive the bus, and the court believes, Mr. Cieslak, you're the father. You should tell your son he needs to respect his mother. It's no different than when he's disrespecting you and ignoring you, doesn't want to see you. The other parent needs to talk to that child and set that child straight. It's a 12-year-old. He needs his mother, and you have a big part in this whole issue here by reinforcing support for his relationship with his mother. That is huge. So that's this is important as counseling. Now, is the child right now in counseling? Have the parties identified a therapist or counselor to repair the relationship between mom and child?
Your Honor, the client has been in counseling since 2021, but he has not attended since he's been in Mr. Cieslak's possession since March 26th.
And I know that I did talk to Ms. Smith, and I told her to make the appointment. and my client would get him there, and I've not received that there's any notification of an appointment. But Judge, the problem with Leon
So
is
hold on. Let's get back in counseling. Who's got to schedule the counseling, and whose time will be on, dad's or mom's?
I guess, Your Honor, that's dependent on what the court decides. Previously, it was on mom's time. Mom will go ahead and schedule that and get that handled, but Leon has been with dad all of this time. Dad has the contact information and is able to schedule counseling appointments and has chosen not to.
Okay.
I've been asking if there's been an appointment. There's been no appointment scheduled. So when I did talk to Ms. Smith prior to Ms. Neiman coming in, she had said that there was no future appointments made. And I said, well, if there is, I'll make sure my client gets him there. And I've been notified there's any appointment set, and neither is my client.
Mr. Cieslak had temporary possession of this child and he had the information. So I don't understand why Mr. Cieslak couldn't have scheduled that appointment.
Mr. Cieslak may speak for himself.
Okay, the counseling is presumably during the week, correct? Dad's spending time is primarily the weekends, except the fourth week of the month. So it's probably better if mom's probably in a better position to reschedule those therapy sessions. So the courts can order that therapy for the minor child forthwith continue. What about school? He's not been in school?
He
Your Honor, he's not at school today, I was informed.
That's correct. He met with me in my office today, and according to Leon, he didn't want to go to school, not knowing what was going to happen at the end of the day. He was kind of refusing to go to school because he wanted to speak to me. He wanted to speak to the court, and I told him that's not possible. He's sitting outside my office. But he wanted to know what the plans were. He didn't, because he's uncomfortable.
The plan is he's going to go to school today. You get him to school immediately when we get done here. Should not be out of school today. And he's been out of school for the last couple of weeks?
He's missed 9 days since Mr. Cieslak, since the ex parte was entered. He's missed 9 days of school.
Is that correct?
Not since the ex parte was entered.
That does not include the 1 week of spring break, which was also during that time frame. So outside of spring break, he missed an additional 9 days of school.
Well, the problem, like Leon is concerned, this all happened. He's alleging domestic violence, and again, just the mom's kind of abandoned him, and he's being called a liar. So Leon he's upset. He sees his mom in 3 hours of school every day. He's uncomfortable. He's actually texted dad from the school saying that the administration does nothing to prevent her from walking around. He's uncomfortable.
Your Honor, I object to the characterization that Ms. Smith has somehow abandoned this child. Ms. Smith disciplined this child because of the way that he was speaking to her and the statements that he was making in the car. She disciplined this child. Looking back, she regrets how she chose to discipline him, but in that moment, asking him to vacate the vehicle was the only thing she could think to do. She did not hit him. No one forced him to leave the home subsequent to his returning. She has not abandoned this child. Additionally, Ms. Smith she's not a teacher. She's an aide at his school, and she's an aide in 2 classes that Leon is in. So this characterization that she's bothering him, around him all day, and she's abandoned him and abused him, it's all absolutely incorrect. There are no CPS investigations. There are no criminal charges.
Ms. LaPrade, is there any value from your standpoint in interviewing this child?
Your Honor, we will if the court directs us to. I'm just not sure based off of Mr. Kaczmarek's representation, I could almost tell you what the child's going to say, whether it be right or wrong.
Yep, I would agree. All right, well, obviously the court, Mr. Cieslak, poor choice on your part not sending him to school. His number one job in life right now is to go to school. And you as a parent need to make sure he goes to school. That applies to both mom and dad. So the court's going to adopt this recommendation. You shall get him to school immediately after lunch today. You go to school every day, and you need to have a talk with your son. That's more beneficial to him than the court talking to him, in front of the court talking to him. You need to talk to him and tell him that he needs to respect his mother, just like he needs to respect you as his father. He's a minor child. He's 12 years old. I understand he's going through emotional problems, but his number one obligation is to go to school, not miss school. So get him to school this afternoon and to tell him that
number one obligation is
pick him up after school.
A facility that he can feel comfortable in, actually learn. If his mother is breathing down his neck and he can't focus on his studies,
we can't hear anything you're saying. You're breaking up.
I'm sorry. His number one response.
Mr. Kaczmarek, do you want a custody hearing date, Mr. Kaczmarek? Is that what we're going to do? If you're going to testify, do you want to hear custody hearing date?
I just got reprimanded and I can't even say it. Probably does, yes.
All right, put the device in front of Mr. Cieslak and the court will hear him out.
Your Honor, on December 23rd of this last year, my son had an appendix rupture, and we were in the hospital, all three of us together, for the first time as a family in 6 years. I was getting her blankets and coffee. We were co-parenting our child. When she needs me, I am there. When she does not want me, she alienates me and tells everybody at his school administration that I'm abusive. His counselors down in Sylvania, Ohio, believe that I'm abusive and will not even speak to me. She has done everything that she can to convince everybody that in our life that I'm an abusive father. Leon comes to me and he says, Dad, why does everybody think you beat me? Dad, why don't you pay your child support? Dad, why isn't your child support paid? Oh, well, son, I'm on unemployment. COVID hit hard. I'm behind on some stuff, but I'm back to work now. My stuff's getting garnished. Here's that. Here's my stuff. Well, Your Honor, pretty much what's going on is I tell my son that everything is circles. Everything is circles in life, and it's going to come back for you. The rule of 10. What good you put out is coming back for you times 10. What bad you put out is coming back for you times 10. It's going to be here. Like, I teach my son these things, and his mother does what she can. Does what she can all the time to alienate me. You need to speak to my son. It's not a recommendation. It is a need. Leon needs to be heard by the family courts and by you guys. He really does. And I'm sorry that I look crazy and eccentric defending my son. I know that I look insane, but the entire time we're arguing about school that she's in 3 of his classes with. Listen to what my son has to say about where he is and then tell me why I seem insane. Talk to my son, not us. If you have my son's best interest at heart, I promise you school is it's his only priority. It is in his circle. Your circle is growing into the person that you are going to be and being happy, learning who you are, and being who you are so you know what you want in life. I tell him these things. What she says that I say to my son, this is our adult relationship and what I explained to him. Your mom and I can't get along, and I'm sorry about that. But that doesn't mean that you talk to her the way that I talk to her. And she tells people I'm abusive and I lose my temper with her because she tells people that I hit you, that are his school administrators, are his counselors. His counselors are under the assumption his dad is abusive. Of course, they're not going to speak to me when I go down there to what is it, Helping Hands of Sylvania, Ohio. And I walk in and they look at me like I'm an abusive male before I even step in. It isn't fair. It's narcissistic. She's been lying to my son since he was a child, since he was a small, and her house of cards is blown up and it is not my fault. It's not his. And then when she wanted to beat him and drop him off on Suitor, they were arguing over child support. Why do you want to go to your dad's? Why do you even want to go over there? He doesn't even care.
Were you there? Mr. Cieslak,
No,
did you hear
sir, I
firsthand
was
that
not,
discussion?
but I understand. My son is extremely articulate. My son is extremely intelligent. And
He's telling you what you want to hear. He's telling mom what she wants to hear. But what the court's going to do, the court's going to obviously conflict. The court's going to add to this recommendation. The court's going to order that both of you to complete a highconflictsolutions.com workshop. And both of you do that and provide the court with a 100-word statement in terms of what you learned from that class. And we'll set this for review in about 30 days. But in the meantime, the court that's going to adopt this recommendation. The experts are to be vacated. The child's going to be returned to school today. The mom's parenting time is restored. And Dad, you have to have that conversation with them. And if in fact, if there's still issues 30 days from now, the court will set this for a trial. You want a full-blown custody trial, and that's going to create a lot of issues for the relationship between you and his mother and the child. I can assure you that. So I want you to both, it's called the High Conflict Solutions, plural.com workshop. It's an online workshop. It'll help you address some of these difficult times. So you had to have the discussion with your son. Let him know he's going back with his mom. If in fact,
100%.
there's issues in 30 days, we will set a custody hearing date.
Judge, I know that one of the questions my client did ask me is, can Leon have his own attorney? And I know this court doesn't normally do that, but I'm asking if an LGAL can be appointed, maybe the cost be split between the parties. That is a request.
If the two of you agree upon a JL, the court would have no objection to that. But again, the parties will have to share the cost equally or proportion to their respective incomes. The court does not pay for that. So we're going to give you a date to come back for review about June 11th or June 12th. That'll give both of you time to complete the workshop and provide the court with a 100-word essay of what you learned from the class. We have June 11th at 3 o'clock or June 12th at 2:45.
June 12th at 2:45 would work better for me, Your Honor. Mr. Kaczmarek?
Either.
Either one.
All right, we'll set this for review, Ms. Perhaps you could put in there, the court will review these issues on June 12th at 2:45 p.m. Again, the court's can order to get the child immediately back to not only school, but also counseling. So, Ms. Smith, you should, when you get done here, get that appointment scheduled ASAP.
Okay.
Can we have the child do a preference interview? Is that a possibility?
We're going to wait. And the court agrees with Mr. Pratt. At this point in time, he's going to say, I want to live with that. I'm sure he's going to say that. But I think if if dad has a genuine discussion with his son saying, you've got to respect your mother. No, he also has to respect his father. I'd say the same thing if he was having issues with his dad right now. He's got to respect his father. He's got one mother and one father in this world. He needs his mother. And so I think that'll go a long way to restoring the parents' relationship between mother and son. But the counseling is critical for the child.
Violence. We don't even care about domestic violence allegations. We don't. There's nothing. If I was beating my son because I had to pay child support to his mom and dropped him off on the street.
There should be no discussion about this case with the child.
And yet she's discussing him and then hitting him over
talk about child support. No discussion.
She's discussing it with him and then hitting him over it.
Your Honor, may I respond to some of the things that Mr. Cieslak is saying?
Have Hope respond.
I attached to my motion several instances where Mr. Cieslak stated affirmatively to Ms. Smith in writing that he had shared pleadings, orders, and discussed this case with Leon, and has stated that he believes that Leon deserves to know that Ms. Smith is a whore. He sat in front of Leon on both Thursday and Friday of last week, calling Ms. Smith names that I will not repeat on this record. He calls her a whore repeatedly, tells her off in front of the child. And while he did on Friday start berating Miss Smith with disgusting language, when the minor child joined in on Mr. Cieslak's abuse, he did state to the child, don't talk to her the way that I'm talking to her. Which is
because it's not in his circle. How I speak to his mom.
There's nothing more damaging to a minor child than either party to talk with the child in that regard about the other parent. So no disparaging remarks about the other parent with the child, and there should be no discussion of this case or any aspect of this case with the child. You simply tell the child that he's going to go back to mom. All right.
He's going to see that when he's an adult, just like I did. He's going to see that.
Revised recommendation. And
yes, sir, it's in your queue.
Concluded. We'll see everyone back June 12th, 2:45.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get me back to school, Mr. Cieslak.
Oh, you can pick him up from school today, okay?
He actually gets out at 11 o'clock today. Today was a half day. And also tomorrow is a half day. They have a school-wide show that they ever.
Let's get
off.
Does
Mr. Cieslak know that? Mr. Niebuhr, you want to call Mr. Cieslak, let him know there's no school this afternoon. I'm just hearing that for the first time.
Right. I'm just hearing it for the first time, Your Honor, too. So we're going to have to figure out how, hold on, Hope. We're going to have to figure out how to facilitate getting Leon from Mr. Cieslak to Ms. Smith. I will reach out to Mr. Kaczmarek and
okay. And if there's an issue, you can come back this afternoon if the court needs to address that. I was not aware.
Court is recalling top of page 2, Holmes Smith versus David Cieslak.
This matter was on the court's docket this morning. The parties have returned apparently to address an issue that remains outstanding that needs to be addressed. Again, the parties are appearing via Zoom. Once again, Attorney Kirsten Nemec with the plaintiff mother, Hope Smith, and Attorney Jason Kaczmarek with defendant father, David Cieslak.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Was there another issue that the court needed to address this afternoon?
Yes, Your Honor. If you'll recall from this morning, neither Mr. Kaczmarek nor I were aware that Leon had only a half day of school today. I believe we both intended that Ms. Smith would just pick Leon up from school. And when we found out that that was not an option, we did attempt to reach an agreement regarding exchange today. We've been unable to do that. Mr. Cieslak did offer Ms. Smith to come pick Leon up from his home at 6 o'clock tonight. I declined that on behalf of my client because I don't believe that it is safe for her to go to Mr. Cieslak's home. We requested that they exchange at the police department as they normally do. And, you know, we're open to times, but we would like it to occur at the police department. We would also, I believe they use the Erie PD. Is that correct, Hope?
Yeah, Erie Township, I believe. Yeah.
Well, certainly any exchanges should be at that location, this location, the police department. So the only issue being is the time. And now apparently the child is not at school, only half day tomorrow as well.
That is correct.
Okay.
It's a fucking shame because my son doesn't feel safe going to his mom's and she wants to hide behind her fear. My son is literally laying here because he was crying when I got home. And now he wants to sleep because he hasn't slept in weeks.
Stop. Okay, 3 o'clock, Mr. Cieslak. I'm not going to hear.
Yeah, I'll be there at 3. Your Honor, Judge, my son's exact words were, this man's been dictating my life.
Mr. Kaczmarek, you need to get control of your client, Mr. Kaczmarek. He's not going to not permit that foul language, especially if his son is in the room. So Mr. Cieslak is ordered to bring the child to the Erie Police Department at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's 1 hour from now.
Your Honor, if I may, Ms. Smith has blocked Mr. Cieslak from communicating with her via text.
Not unsafe. My son is unsafe. I'll be there at 3. Fuck yourself, Kristen.
The parties use app close. Could we please include in the order that the parties use app close?
So I suggested, I know Miss Hope had blocked him. And I suggested they communicate together because I didn't want to have time to deal with this all day. I have a lot of other things going on. So my client suggested 6. I called Ms. Nemick 3 times to try to work out something. She didn't answer. My client suggested 6 o'clock. He had left. So I put that in there. She's declined. I said, why don't the parties communicate? Because she has blocked him and she declined that as well. So that's where we're at.
So all communication should be by app close and only regarding the minor child. And the parties shall meet at 3 o'clock to facilitate the exchange. Obviously, Dad's printing time starts this Friday at 6. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I know from experience, every one of my clients has trouble connecting on app close. I've never had it'd be a smooth transition. So I don't know if they can work together to do that, but it's not an easy thing to connect the 2 clients. Every single time I've had app close used, but once they connect, it's fine. But getting connected has been difficult.
Okay.
Every time.
I've not heard that before, Mr. Kaczmarek, so I was not aware it's difficult.
And I had to shoot just at 1 o'clock hearing. It was about 3. I had the same problem.
Heard Leon either.
Where mom and dad are both on it. They weren't connecting, and we're trying to figure out how with the referee. And it was just it can be frustrating connecting themselves.
The pseudo-intellectual rhetorical babble of what's best for my son used is unacceptable. Continue to mute me, but I'm a father, and my son is being abused, and you're more concerned about school. Continue to. But my son is being abused, and you are more concerned and her safety. Unacceptable.
It'll appear if he continues this. All right, 3 o'clock, 1 hour from now.
Make deliberations without listening to my.
Your Honor, would it be possible for front of the court to, as soon as you've signed that order, email it to myself and Mr. Kaczmarek so that Ms. Smith has that when she appears?
You've not met with the front of the court today, so you can prepare an order, email it over here, and the court will sign it.
I'm not going to get her, but I will speak. Continue to mute me, but I will speak in son's best interest. I don't care. I will continue to unmute you, Your Honor, or unmute myself. This is my son's safety. This isn't his school. This is my son's safety. And you're going to be concerned about her safety?
You can call protective services, Mr. Cieslak. You got an attorney that's very.
I'm going through Toledo. They're investigating her in Toledo still. It's a misdemeanor of domestic violence. They aren't moving. They don't have a detective. It's slow. I've been down there every day.
David, hang on. To that end, Judge, I did. Miss Hope did speak with Leon via Zoom. Miss Nemick and I were on that Zoom call. I could tell you after that, Mr. Cieslak was out of the room. He was outside. He was in his vehicle. I did speak to Leon afterwards, and he was pretty upset. I mean, I will acknowledge that, and I understand the court's order. I understand what's going on, and I try to console Leon a bit. He is upset. He's unhappy. He doesn't.
His exact words, Your Honor, was Judge Bronlick has dictated my life for 8 years, and I have never even met the man.
Right. If
the parents
cannot raise their child, then the court's responsibility is to raise that child.
Your Honor, you don't have to have that responsibility, sir. My son is safe here. Everything that woman has told you is a lie about me, and I know.
Terminate this, please. Just terminate it. Okay, Mr. Nemick, you can prepare an order, send it over to the court, unless front of the court can prepare your orders for you, but they're not involved this afternoon. So prepare the order, send it over. You can email it to Cindy, and I'll sign it, and you can. We can sign it. You can come over and get 2 copies.
I will do that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Court is now in session. Top of page 4, Hope Smith versus David Cieslak.
For the record, this matter is before the court for the purpose of reviewing parenting time. In addition, Attorney Jason Kaczmarek had filed a motion to withdraw as the attorney of record for the defendant, Father David Cieslak. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Kirsten Nemec representing the plaintiff, Hope Smith. Ms. Smith is present. Mr. Cieslak, you're present on audio, is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
The court did receive from Attorney Kaczmarek a stipulated order where Mr. Cieslak, you've agreed that Mr. Kaczmarek can withdraw as your attorney of record. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, so it's not been submitted to the court for signature. I think it was just an emailed copy, but that will be sent to the clerk's office for the court to enter. So that issue has been addressed. With respect to parenting time, the court has received the following recommendation. From Ms. LaPrade, from the front of the court, the recommendation is as follows: that the current parenting time order shall be suspended until such time as CPS investigation is completed and father completes an anger management course. Neither party shall use corporal punishment as a form of discipline, and Mr. Cieslak shall complete an anger management course. Obviously, something has happened since we were last in court on May 7th that the court was not aware of. The court would note for the record that both parties completed the high conflict solutions workshop as ordered by this court and did submit essays. Ms. LaPrade, does your office have a copy of their essays?
I do, Your Honor. Ms. Cieslak's was emailed the other day and uploaded, and Ms. Nemec was kind enough to send me Mr. Cieslak's today, so I do have both of them.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that your office had a copy of those. The court was pleased that both parties seemed to be receptive and felt they benefited from the class. The court likes feedback. All right, Ms. Nemec, obviously you're good with this recommendation, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't know if we need to get into what happened, but Mr. Cieslak, do you understand the recommendation this afternoon? Is that parenting time be suspended until you complete an anger management class and CPS completes their investigation?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. I mean, I'm not happy with it. I do have an objection to it, but I do understand the court's recommendation for it. It's been a very confusing past few months for all parties involved. And honestly, I would like also to apologize to you, Your Honor. A lot of what I said in the app close was offensive to the courts, not only Ms. Smith. I'm not blaming my son by any way whatsoever, but with the information that I was getting from my son at the time, I don't want to use the word justified, but I felt like at the time what I was saying was in defense of my child. And it's not, I know it wasn't. I went to get into the matters that happened. I smacked my son on May 20th. And that is what the CPS investigation is about. He had told CPS that I had smacked him for 40 minutes straight and I had threatened to kill our dogs. And that is kind of the same around about things that he was saying about his grandfather and his mother. The situation that we are in right now is because Hope and I, from the conflict resolution class that I had taken, we need to reframe how we think about each other. When he comes over here and he says things about his mother, I barely even know his mother as a person anymore with our lack of communication. And I go off of what my son says 100%, and that can't be done anymore. He's at an age where he's manipulating both of us. He knows that we are not fans of each other, and he is taking full advantage of that. And I don't blame him. He is a boy. But I did smack him on the 20th, and that is what is going on. And I had gone through his messages with his mother, and I woke him up and I put him in the corner and I was like, Leon, you have been lying about this entire situation. The allegations you made against your mother in Toledo could have put her in jail. It could have cost her a career. A lot of what, and I said, son, as a matter of fact, I told you the next time you lied to me, I would smack you in the mouth. And I told Leon, come here. And I smacked him, and it left a bruise. Amber McFall was here. She had to go through my whole house because Leon's allegations were that there were holes in all of my walls, that I had beat him for 40 minutes straight, and that my house was unclean. And she came through, and all of that was false. Everything that my son had said to her was false. And I presented to her Toledo police all my son's statements that he was making against his mother in Toledo as well. It did happen. No.
Okay, you're breaking up, Mr. Cieslak.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. Okay, I don't know if we need to get in more detail. I am pleased that you recognize that your son is playing one of you against the other. There's no question that 12-year-old can be challenging. Obviously, he's challenging both his father as well as his mother, pushing you to the limits. So you need to be on the same page for the benefit of each other, and particularly Leon. So you want to take this anger management course?
Whatever the courts suggest, I will do. Honestly,
well, that's what Mr. Prad's recommending, and the Prad has many years of experience. So the court's inclined to adopt your recommendation, and what I'd like to do is set this for review so that you don't have to petition the court. This court wants nothing more than to restore the relationship between you and your son. Is Leon in counseling right now?
Yes.
Ms. Nemec?
He is, and I believe he attends weekly at this point, correct, Ms. Smith?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and is there any objection, Mr. Cieslak, talking to that counselor at some point in time to perhaps a counselor can assist in reestablishing the relationship between father and son?
I think it's important to maintain the counseling relationship that's been established between Leon and his counselor, but I don't think that there would be an objection to Mr. Cieslak and Leon seeing a separate counselor together to attempt to repair their relationship.
Okay. I just didn't know if
Your Honor,
the
I'm
existing
sorry.
counselor had any recommendations. Go ahead, Mr. Cieslak.
I was just here last weekend. My son and my relationship isn't damaged as it's being brought to the courts in that perspective. It really isn't. My son was just here this weekend. He was helping me with yard work. I explained to him, I was like, Leon, that is the first time I've ever laid hands on you, and CPS has been at our house. Like, what is going on? And he knows that I know that he's been lying. And I don't know if his mother is on the same page as far as the extent or how extensive his lies have been. And I mean, for perspective, my 88-year-old grandmother still thinks that he's in an abusive relationship at his mother's house. She is still very upset with how this has all played out. And it's been very difficult to convince her that he is safe over there. So it's been a very strange road since 3/26. And I picked him up at a Dollar General where he was saying that he had to leave an abusive domestic violence relationship with his grandfather and his mother. And it really did strike a nerve with me. And I did believe him full throttle. And I can't go back on the fact that I did that. I can't. It's what happened. And on the 20th, I did smack him on the mouth. And leave a bruise. Amber McFall did come here. We did put a safety plan in place. I admitted to on the 20th, when I dropped Leon off, I asked Hope to roll down her window and told her that I smacked Leon and that I knew that everything that he said was lies and that she wasn't abusing him. And I made him apologize to his mother that Sunday. And then I was getting calls from CPS the next Friday. And I understand. I really do, because when he goes to his mother's house and he says that my dad woke me up beating me, he beat me for 40 minutes straight, and he threatened to kill me and the dogs if I told anybody, is what Amber told me my son had said. So it's not, I understand where Hope is coming from. I completely acknowledge that my son is believable when he is as adamant as he is with what he's saying. And anger management, I'll do it. Or I don't like it and I will object to it, but I will do it. And it's
right. Mr. Cieslak, you've had contact Leon's, you've had parenting time with Leon after this incident where you stabbed him in the mouth, correct?
Yes, sir. I have. I had him all this previous weekend.
Your Honor, that was because I advised Ms. Smith that there was an order in place and she needed to try to convince Leon to go. That was the only reason. Leon fought strenuously to avoid parenting time and has expressed repeatedly that he is fearful of physical punishment, which again, Mr. Cieslak has repeatedly admitted to engaging in, and which was so severe it left bruises on the side of this child's face.
Bruce.
I can share a picture with the court if the court is inclined to see it.
Is Ms. Smith concerned about this reoccurring?
Yes, Mr. Cieslak has demonstrated over the course of years his issues with managing his own anger. He has engaged in verbal abuse, physical abuse of Ms. Smith, in front of the minor child, calling her names, which again,
we're trying to move forward.
If I was in
the court would like to hope that both
am I
parties,
not prosecuted with that?
Hold on, Ms. Cieslak. The court would like to think both parties have a little insight into the relationship with their 12-year-old child who is being most challenging. And so rather than drag up things from the past, I'd like to move forward, even with a provision in here that neither party should use corporal punishment from discipline. Ms. Smith is still concerned about Leon's welfare with his dad.
yes, she is. And she would like to see the
A month ago,
investigation.
I was concerned of Leon's well-being
Hold on,
with
Mr.
his
Cieslak.
grandfather and his
Mr.
mother.
Cieslak, hold on. Let Ms. Nemec finish, please.
The difference here is that Ms. Smith never smacked Leon, and there were no marks on Leon. And in this incident, Mr. Cieslak admits to smacking Leon, and there are bruises on this child's face days later. That is the difference. There is a substantiated allegation. I've spoken with Ms. McFall myself. Mr. Cieslak, while we were before Ms. LaPrade, called Ms. McFall himself. The allegations in the CPS investigation are going to be substantiated, but the investigation is not complete.
Okay. Well, basically, CPS will just put together a safety plan, correct? And presumably one element of the safety plan is that Mr. Cieslak completed an anger management course, correct?
That is
No.
not what she has suggested so far. And in fact, she did not put any prohibition on Mr. Cieslak physically disciplining this child.
Well, because when she came here and I had files of my son stating that he was terrified of his grandfather and his mother, abuse of Leon, she was surprised when she was not surprised for any other reason other than the fact that I had 8 police reports that were stating that my son was terrified to go to school, that he was terrified to be around his grandfather and his mother. My son has been playing both sides of the fence. That is true. And
okay, Mr. Cieslak, the court understands all that. There's no question that 12-year-old can push a parent to limit, and yet we're all human.
And the safety plan
sometimes strike out without a bad motive. They do strike out to their children. So the court believes this recommendation is appropriate at this time. It'll benefit you. You look good in the eyes of protective services. For you to complete an anger management course, contact a counseling agency. I'm sure the front of the court caseworker can provide you with a name of an agency that does this kind of work. And I would suggest enrolling that as soon as possible. Get it done, the sooner the better you can complete that, and you have documentation. So the court's going to adopt the recommendation, but I'm going to set a review date. So as to I want to reestablish relationship between you and Leon.
If I may, when I spoke to Amber, she said that the only reason why the CPS investigation is open is because it's open for 30 days regardless. And when she was at my house, she did say that she believes that I was disciplining Leon, and the safety plan that she put into place was to spank Leon on the butt from now on. She said, even though you are allowed to smack in the face in Michigan, that you shouldn't do it. As a male, there is a high definite chance that you are going to leave a bruise on your son's face. So I recommend that you spank him from now on when you discipline him. And when she left my house, she knew that it was discipline.
Understand, but this court's going to enter an order that there be no corporal punishment. So neither parent shall physically discipline the child. You basically impose some other form of discipline, take away his cell phone, have him sit on the step.
Actually, to brush on that real quick,
punishment other than discipline. So the court's going to set a review date in about, I have no idea how quickly you can take this class, perhaps maybe 45 days. We want to reestablish a relationship with you and Leon. The court would also suggest find a counseling agency that can meet with both you and Leon to have those frank discussions and helping you restore that relationship.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's nothing more, Mr. Cieslak, than to reestablish things between you and Leon.
I believe we did that over this past weekend, but I understand where the court is coming from. And then also, and the only reason why I bring it up is you said that for discipline to ground him from his phone. I believe that the court said that neither one of the parents are allowed to take his phone away at one point. So I don't want to go against court ruling if that is still in effect.
Miss, is that a provision of a prior order, Miss Nemec?
It is the last order. We wanted to make sure that Leon was able to contact the other parent at any time if necessary. There are other electronic items that they can take away from him as forms of punishment, video game consoles and iPads and things like that. But we wanted to make sure that he always had a mechanism to reach out to the other parent.
You can get all those games on his phone. Taking away a tablet does nothing when the child's got his phone.
Yeah, I'm going to be speaking to somebody who's a little bit more advanced with technology than myself, and they're going to be placing any adult blockers that they can on his phone. But I also shared all of his passwords with his mother just recently. So she has access to his phone as well. So she can see our messages and she can see that he is effectively playing both sides of the fence. It's,
Right, so Mr. Cieslak, yes, there is a provision right now that you can't take away his phone. We can discuss that further in the future. I don't know what Ms. Smith is suggesting, how you discipline the child if he's got his phone with him. It's not much of a discipline if he can't impose physical corporal punishment. In any event, the court should adopt the recommendation. We'll set this for review. Are you available, Ms. Nemec, on July 31st at 1:30?
It looks, no, I'm not at 1:30.
August 7th at 2 o'clock?
Go back there, so. Yes, I can do August 7th at 2.
All right, Ms. Pratt, if you can just add to the recommendation, the court will review dad's parenting time August 7th at 2 p.m. So, Mr. Cieslak, court suggests get that anger management counseling, get enrolled in that, completed as soon as possible. Hopefully, when you come back on August 7th, you have documentation completed that, and also try to find a counselor that can meet with you and Leon that does some family counseling that can facilitate a discussion in a supervised setting between you and Leon to work through some of these differences. And Leon needs to be truthful to both of his parents. And
yeah, Your Honor, I already had Leon over this last weekend, and we had more than a couple of heart-to-hearts about it. He had to go to his grandmother and explain to her that he was lying. He was a lot that he had to deal with over this last weekend, and he's already done it. And I believe that we could move forward in a productive manner from this point. I mean, I'm already speaking to him daily on his phone, and he has already been at my house, and he was helping me with yard work to earn watching a show that evening before he went to bed back. So he wasn't here just being screamed at about what's going on. He needs to learn from these mistakes. And he did. He made some pretty big mistakes, and I tried to explain to him it's not who he is. It's you made mistakes and you can move forward from it and you can learn from them. So I would like to get this anger management class done as quickly as possible. And does this mean that I won't be seeing my son until August?
well, again, unless you can do it, can we do more? I don't know how long the class is, but it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Do we have some before July 31st? I know that the court's concerned, especially if Dad had parenting time with Leon this past weekend, there were no issues. But if Ms. Smith believes that this needs to be done, that there's a history of anger management issues with Mr. Cieslak, then the court will order that.
I would see why she would say that. I don't blame her. Okay. It's not been
What, July 17th, 8:30, Ms. Nemec?
Yes, that would work.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. LaPrep. You put July 17th at 8:30 to review this. So in the meantime, what about phone contact?
That's a very long time to go without seeing my son. He's not going to be.
I understand that. Hold on just a minute. Mr. Cieslak, hold on just a minute. Ms. Nemec, any objection to Dad having phone contact with Leon?
I'm going to have to defer to you on that, Hope. What is your feeling on that?
No, I don't think there needs to be a limit on phone contact.
Father can have reasonable phone
Okay,
contact.
well,
Yes.
Well, Dad, are you concerned about Mr. Cieslak having inappropriate discussions with Leon?
I can see the conversations now that I have the Leon's password. So I feel like I can monitor if the conversation is appropriate for my child.
That's why I gave it to you.
If it's appropriate, then I don't mind the contact. But if it's not appropriate, I will definitely put a restriction on that for sure.
Well, what if Mr. Cieslak had texted Leon to say, call me if you want to talk, and Leon initiates a phone call? Any objection to that?
No.
All right, so that's what the court suggests. I'm not putting this in order, Mr. Cieslak, but obviously you can text Leon, just say, hey, buddy, whatever. I'm always going to be here for you. Call me. I missed.
Your Honor, he knows. He's going to be
how you're doing.
He's going to be more upset with this order than I am.
Mr. Cieslak, I know you're not giving the court an opportunity to talk. You want to do all the talking, so go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. My son's not going to be pleased with this. He was just here this weekend. He's not going to be pleased with not seeing me for a month. I know that for a fact. I do know that it's beneficial for Hope's case for her to say that she is afraid, but she knows that Leon is in no danger here. I know that she knows that. I know that she knows I care about my son as much as she does. And it is, I believe, an attempt from her to hurt mine and Leon's relationship further. He was just here this weekend.
Let's not assume that, Mr. Cieslak. Come on, we're making some
well,
progress
it's-
here. Let's not throw it around. The court's going to order you to
Your
the
Honor.
anger management counseling. The sooner you get started, the sooner we can get a reestablished relationship with Leon. So just focus in on your wellness. If there's been a history of assaultive behavior, anger management, blowing up, take the class and provide documentation of that. So hopefully we get things back on track when we appear before the court on July 17th.
I've said insultful things to Hope, but I have not been charged with assault. I don't have a history of it. I haven't been charged with physical abuse against Hope. I haven't been charged. So I mean, okay, I get it. But when we were finally on the same page and I disciplined my son for lying to me about allegations that could put his mother in jail and are dangerous for the adults in his life, and when we are finally on the same page, he's gone. So I get it. I do.
You don't
I
smack the
understand.
child in the face, Mr. Cieslak. That's where we sort of cross the line when you smack them in the face, and you acknowledge that. So that'll be the order of the court. Hopefully we'll have a documentation completed the class by July 17th. You can still text Leon to say, hey, I'm here if you want to talk. And if he wants to make the call, if he wants to talk to you, he can initiate the phone call.
Your Honor, did you want that incorporated in the recommendation that father have reasonable phone contact, or did you not want that?
We can do that, but again, it's got to be initiated by by Leon. The phone contact be initiated by Leon. The father can text Leon, but make it appropriate. You want to be gentle with Leon, Mr. Cieslak, so he doesn't back away. And then talk with the counselor. Maybe they can offer you suggestions. How do you deal with a difficult 12-year-old? So you can have phone contact with them.
From the back away.
But to have Leon initiate the phone contact, you just text him and just say, hey, I'm available. Call me if you want to talk. I miss you.
Yeah,
hopefully we can reestablish things on July 17th at 8:30.
We've reestablished things this last weekend, but okay. Thank you.
That's the primary question I asked. I asked it about 20 minutes ago. I asked Ms. Smith if Leon was there this past weekend, is there still a concern and issue? And she said yes. That there's been
with my son there wasn't
warrant a anger management counseling program, and Mrs. Pratt is recommending that, and the court's going to adopt that recommendation. So a copy of this order will be forwarded to both parties. We'll see one back on July 17th at 8:30. If you have trouble finding a counseling program, Mr. Cieslak, reach out to your friend of the court caseworker. They can give you the name of an agency that your insurance would cover. The court wants nothing more than to reestablish things between you and Leon. Rest assured, I'm sincere in that.
well, established it this last weekend. The relationship between Hope and I is what's preventing anything from being reestablished between Leon and I. She's the one that is fearful for Leon, and Leon is not fearful. Leon knows what goes on at my house, and he is effectively running from discipline from both parents with the court's aid at this point. Like it's not even Amber said the safety plan that we put into place. She's like, you are allowed to smack your child in the face, but if you leave a bruise, it is abuse. So do not do that. You should smack him on the butt from now is exactly what she told me. And she
already told me that. You already told me at this court that you not smack on the butt. You don't touch them. Neither one of you shall inflict any corporal punishment.
Okay.
So that will conclude this hearing. Everyone can zoom out. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome. For the record, this matter is before the court for the purpose of reviewing defendant father's parenting time. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Kirsten Nemec, representing the plaintiff mother, Hope Smith. Hope Smith appears to be present. Is David Cieslak present? Okay, Mr.
Yes,
Cieslak,
sir,
can you hear the court?
Yes, sir, Your Honor, I can.
Okay, Mr. Cieslak is appearing via audio. The parties have conferred with Mr. Walker in front of the court this morning. Just one moment, I don't seem to be finding a recommendation. The court had one question. Mr. Cieslak, have you completed the anger management course that was previously ordered?
No, sir, Your Honor, I have not completed it.
Okay, well, why is that? Again, it was ordered previously. Well, if you want to move forward with parenting time, you've got to comply with orders of this court, Mr. Cieslak. The recommendation of the front of the court this morning is that your parenting time remains suspended. Once again, that you complete an anger management course, but you should have reasonable phone contact with your child, initiated by the child only. It's also noted that the CPS investigation has been closed. However, the prosecutor's office is currently reviewing possible charges against Mr. Cieslak. And a parenting time review hearing is scheduled for September 24th at 9:30. Hopefully, Mr. Cieslak, you will have completed your anger management course, have documentation of that, and we can move forward to reestablish a relationship with you and your child.
Your Honor, I'd like nothing more than that. I honestly, I'm very heartbroken that I haven't even been able to see my son in the past time that has already been here. I have started working again for the carpenters and the millwrights union have merged, and I'm working as a millwright for a plant. It has been some pretty excruciating hours, which unfortunately I have no idea why. I thought that my union would immediately start paying my child support out of my check from CCI. I don't know if your records indicate any payments or anything like that. I'm hoping to get that.
We're not concerned about child support. We're more concerned about your parenting time with your 12-year-old.
Yes, sir. I really am too. And honestly, I didn't know that. I don't want to say it like that. I was hoping that being in the anger management class would. I didn't know that it would need to be 100% completed before time would be reinstated with my son. Also, if we are waiting on prosecution, I will have my anger management course done very soon. It's through the North American Learning Institute, and I have been doing it online.
Okay, and now that will help you in the criminal case if that may convince the prosecutor not to take any action if they see that you've taken steps to address your anger management issues.
Yes, sir.
The court's inclined to adopt this recommendation. The court previously ordered that you complete an anger management counseling program back on June 12th. Here we are a month later, and we're not any further ahead.
Your Honor.
So do you understand the recommendation, Mr. Cieslak?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. And I would also, when prosecution is through with whether or not they're going to press charges, and I do have my anger management class, I will be trying to file a motion to receive parenting time sooner than September. So
okay, that's fine. But again, I suggest don't waste everyone's time by coming back until you got documentation, completed that class.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I would like to address something that Mr. Cieslak said. He indicated to the court when the court asked about completion of the anger management. He stated he didn't understand that it would need to be 100% complete by this hearing today. It's my understanding that Mr. Cieslak only signed up for the course yesterday. So I don't believe that there was any proactive, he was not being proactive with regard to that anger management course, and that's why it is not completed.
Okay. All right, to Ms. Nemec, you're asking the court to adopt this recommendation then?
I am.
All right, Mr. Cieslak, is there anything further from your standpoint?
No, sir, Your Honor.
All right, the court will adopt the recommendation. We mailed a copy of this, and we'll see you back September 24th at 9:30. You can always petition if you want to file a motion prior thereto. You certainly can do that, but you need to complete that program and have documentation you completed that program.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. And if I may, because I am pretty ignorant to the matters of your courts, who do I go to my caseworker to file a motion?
Well, you can consult an attorney, or yes, you can talk to your caseworker. Your caseworker can give you some direction. The caseworker cannot represent you or file the motion on your behalf. He may perhaps provide you with some forms.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. That will conclude this matter. We'll see everyone back on September 24th at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Everyone can zoom out. You're welcome. So look at this and find out why we're missing these things. Andrea, I can't deal.
Judge, I went through every single one of these files.
Right here.
I'll
show you. Right here in the order.
Right, and I understand that, but it didn't come up on my sheet for me to even pull the
You gotta figure out
file.
why it's not coming up in your sheet. And you gotta write it maybe in there. I don't know how you do it, but it's gotta be on there.
The last, like I said, even the last email was, we were.
Just figure it out what went wrong and fix it, please. Sorry. Something else ready?
Yeah, the police is bringing in the middle too.
I'm sorry, it's just not a good morning.
Just want to let you know I'm here.
I need your beer on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, please.
Charles was closed yesterday.
I don't care. I need to, if you can't work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, then I need to find someone else. Those are my busy days. I need the full staff here. For the record, this matter is before the court for reviewing defendant father's parenting time. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Kirsten Nimick, representing the plaintiff mother Hope Smith. Ms. Smith is present. Is defendant father David Cieslak present on audio?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Parties have conferred with Ms. Patrick. The court will soon be receiving a recommendation from Ms. Patrick. Oh, there it is. The recommendation, Ms. Patrick, is that father shall have parenting time every Saturday from 5 p.m. until Sunday at 5 p.m. commencing September 21st, 2024. The parties will appear back for this court to review parenting time November 19th at 10 a.m. Further, the issue of parenting time shall be referred to the front of the court for formal investigation and recommendation. That is a recommendation. Ms. Nimick, is this recommendation agreed with your client this morning?
I didn't have an opportunity to ask Ms. Smith if it was. So Hope, are you in agreement with this recommendation?
I am not in agreement. with
Right.
this
I'll put you in the breakout
recommendation.
room. You talk with your client, so Ms. Nimick, and then you can explain
Thank
to me
you.
what her objection is, please.
Okay, thank you.
Once again, this matter is before the court for purpose of reviewing defendant father's parenting time. The court has reviewed with the parties' recommendation of Mr. Pratt in front of the court. Ms. Nimick, you had now a chance to discuss the recommendation with your client, Ms. Smith. Is that correct?
It is.
And she's opposed to the recommendation. The reason?
She is. She believes that Mr. Cieslak's parenting time should be supervised at the outset. The reason being the substantiated CPS allegation where Mr. Cieslak did slap Leon twice in the face, leaving two bruises, that lasted over a week. She feels that Mr. Cieslak has been abusive toward Leon for the entire 13 years of his life. And that if he is given unsupervised parenting time at this point, that Leon would be at risk for this behavior continuing. She also feels that in this time, since Mr. Cieslak's parenting time has been suspended, that she's seen a marked improvement in Leon. He continues to go to therapy. His grades are improving. He has made friends at school. He's engaged in activities and demonstrating, happiness and lack of anxiety that he was not demonstrating previously. In fact, right before our last hearing, Leon had gotten into trouble at school for punching another child in the face. And he's not exhibiting any of those behaviors now that he is not engaging in parenting time with Mr. Cieslak. She would, as I said, like to see supervised parenting time. She'd also like to see counseling established for Mr. Cieslak and Leon. As I said, Leon already has his own counselor, but we'd like to see Mr. Cieslak and Leon attend counseling together with a different counselor.
Okay. Has there been any authorization by the prosecutor?
There has not. No, I did speak with Mr. Lorraine a couple of weeks ago. He indicated that the prosecutor's office is declining to authorize charges. The reason was that they felt that the issue was handled by CPS and would be handled by this court.
Okay. Has Mr. Cieslak, have you completed an anger management counseling program?
Yes, Your Honor, I have. And may I respond to any of that she said at this
One
moment?
moment.
Or
Ms.
okay.
Nimick, have you received documentation verification that Mr. Cieslak has completed an anger management program?
Yes, this morning we received documentation that he enrolled on July 16th and it was completed on July 17th. So it appears it was likely an online course and not very substantial.
Okay. And all right, Mr. Cieslak, your response?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. What brought us here in the first place was me seeking ex parte custody, believing that my son was being abused. The last time that we were here, or when we were here to review that ex parte, and I met Ms. Nimick for the first time, she was saying that Leon was doing fine in school then, and now he's doing better than he was, but he was doing great then. Counseling, I honestly believe that Leon should be in counseling. That's great. He's lied to the courts. He's lied to Toledo courts. He's lied to Monroe courts. We are here because I initially thought he was being abused. The CPS allegations on July 17th, when we were here, they were saying that Leah Hubbard was going to be prosecuting at that time, and that Erie Police Department was going to be prosecuting. I talked to them right after I got out of that court hearing, and they both assured me that they had already reviewed those cases and that they weren't seeking prosecution. That was on July 17th, the day of our last review. We're here because my son has been lying about both of his parents, and I've waited until our review date to bring it forward, but I want to just see my son and move forward with it. There's no prosecution. I've spoke to Erie prosecutors and Monroe prosecutors on multiple occasions, and they've assured me that there's no prosecution whatsoever. The prosecutors of Monroe had not even heard my name. So I would honestly like to just continue moving forward with what we had going on for a number of years of me having my son every weekend except for the 4th week of the month. I have him Wednesday through Friday. And instead of having that, I would prefer to have him on Wednesday so I can take him to church. I'm active in I go to Oaks of Righteousness with my church group. I go to church every Tuesday with a group of men who are very active in Monroe with many different organizations that we have in our community. And I attend Wednesday and Sunday. And I've been doing that for quite a few number of months. And it's with where Leon goes to school, having him in church is difficult because he doesn't have any acceptance towards the faith at all. He goes towards, and it's just, it's very, I want to just see my son. I want to let him know that he made a mistake, that we can move forward. And I don't want him to continue to be able to live in his mistake and to be able to say that I'm an abusive parent, because that's just what would have happened with his mom in the spring. I wouldn't have wanted that to happen to his mom. And I'm embarrassed and ashamed of where we're at because of what my son's been saying. And I want to just move forward. And it's.
But you understand, sir, you cannot assault your son.
Yes, sir, I do. And it hasn't been labeled as assault. It was,
hold on. Did you slap him?
I did smack him in the mouth. Yes, sir, I did.
Hey, that's an assault, sir. That's an assault. What time is church on Sunday?
Church on Sundays at 10:30.
All right. Well, this recommendation would allow you to take him to church on Sundays. The recommendation is every Saturday from 5 till Sunday at 5. And with review November 19th, 2024, you need to have some constructive discussions with your son rather than blaming him. And if the court's going to adopt this, there should be no corporal punishment. Neither of you should assault your son.
And that was after that. Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Is Leon currently involved in counseling?
He is, Your Honor.
All right. All right. The court understands, Ms. Nimick, your client's concerned, but we need to, the court's not quite ready to restore full parenting time to dad, but let's give us a try.
Your Honor.
Leon's 12 years old. If in
Your
fact
Honor.
there's an issue, he can voice that. He's old enough to voice that. So at this time, the court's going to adopt the recommendation. I hear you, Mr. Cieslak. This time let's start slow.
When she was being accused of abuse,
and it was Sunday at 5, reviewed by November 19th at 10 o'clock. So there's be no corporal punishment of the minor child. We can add that to the recommendation, Ms. Patrick, and the child shall continue to engage in counseling. Okay, any questions, Mr. Cieslak?
Yes, I would please like to speak. When she was being accused, Your Honor, when she was being accused of abusing our son.
What's your question?
And I do not have a question. I have the fact that when I need to respect her as his mother, because there is no prosecution from Toledo Police and there's no prosecution from Toledo Police Department. Those are your words exactly. Yes, your word. Yes, we have. But your words exactly were that there were no police prosecution from Toledo Police. There was no prosecution from Ohio Police Department or Ohio prosecutors.
It's a family matter.
It is a family matter. It is. But then you said that I need to respect her as his mother. Were your exact words? Do I not get the door that swings both ways in your court? Where's the respect for me? He's lied about me, and I did smack him across the mouth. I did admit to it, but it was indiscipline, and it was labeled as discipline, which is exactly why the Erie Police and the prosecutors of Monroe are not pressing charges. So I would please like the same courtesy that you gave her, and I would like my parenting times reinstated.
We can discuss that November 19th. Let's see how things go.
November 19th is too long, Your Honor. November 19th is too long, and I've already not seen my son since June, and I've already had my parenting time suspended because of lies. I would like the same courtesy that she received from you, Your Honor, please.
All right. Well, again, there should be no corporal punishment. Again, there's other ways to discipline a child without a physical striking, Mr. Cieslak. So let's move things slowly, and let's see how these Saturdays. It's overnight Saturday.
Have you read the CPS report? Have you read the CPS report, and have you read the circumstances of how he got smacked in the mouth, Your Honor? Because he did have it coming, and you know what? A bruise tends to happen. And the last time we were here was a 3-day long bruise, and now it's a week. Next time we're here, it'll be a week and a half. Everything is exaggerated by Ms.
Very challenging.
Don't acknowledge it.
Yes, but
yes, they are extremely challenging. But what's more challenging is your family court system, Your Honor. And the fact that it is biased and that I am not receiving the same courtesy that she received less than 3 months ago is alarming.
Okay. This court's not in the event of trying to give courtesies. The court is trying to make it best.
You're not in the event of justice and doing what you know you're not, or else you would have taken her from him.
All right.
You would have taken this is absurd.
Cieslak, you can make a claim at the Michigan Court of Appeals. If you disagree with this court's decision, you could go to the Michigan Court of Appeals, but your parenting time will start this Saturday, Sunday at 5. Who's going to pick up?
When am I going to be getting the same courtesy from your courtroom? as Miss Smith. When is my parenting time going to be reinstated? How can she do the exact?
This
She
Saturday.
smacked him in the mouth and abandoned him, according to that police report. And what? I smack him in the mouth after he'd been lying to me for 3 months, and I do not understand it, Your Honor. I told him he was getting smacked in the mouth, and I put him in the corner. And you know what? That you're allowed to smack them in the mouth. You are. You're not allowed to leave a mark. But you are not allowed to, and that's why it was put on that I should spank him through clothing, was our recommendation from Miss McFall. And
well, the front of the court's going to do a parenting time investigation. So the court can, when we come back in November, we'll have more information from the front of the court. Hopefully we can get back.
Just another few months, I don't get to see my son.
That will conclude this hearing. I'm not going to argue with it all morning. I'm trying to make a decision. This court.
It's not an argument. You're biased, and it's extremely insulting.
The court has made that decision, and that will conclude this hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Doherty, Sonicson, Schmitz versus Joshua Gibson.
For the record, this matter is before the court for purpose of reviewing plaintiff mother's parenting time. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. President is Attorney Alex Goldman, representing the plaintiff mother. Ms. Sonicson Schmitz and Ms. Sonicson Schmitz is present. In addition, defendant father Joshua Gibson is also present. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The parties have conferred with Mr. Walker this morning from the front of the court, who has provided the court fine recommendation. Recommendation is that mother's parenting time looks like apparently be modified, and to be on the Sunday parenting time shall be from 12 noon until 6 p.m. In addition, the mother's video chats and phone calls shall start at 6:30 p.m. It's not clear what days of the week that is, or every day. Further, it's recommended that only the biological parent shall be present at the minor child's IEP appointments. Father shall contact his insurance company regarding the deductible to fix his cell phone camera as soon as possible. If the deductible is zero or at a reasonable cost, he shall have the phone repaired. The mother shall start her court-ordered video chats with the minor child. And that's the recommendation. Mr. Goldman, is this recommendation good with your client?
Almost, and I apologize for missing the phrasing. When it mentions IEPs, I think that should be expanded to include parent-teacher conferences and anything of the like. Other than that, we approve of the recommendation.
Okay. That's a point. Mr. Gibson, any objection that only the two of you should be present at your child's IEP appointments as well as parent-teacher conferences?
I mean, even though she's my wife, we are married.
Well, when she's not, if your wife is not the mother of your child, the decisions regarding your child should be between you and mother.
All day. She kind of knows a bit about the boys.
Well, but you should be, this is your responsibility, not her responsibility. She's a stepmother.
Okay. I understand that, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Walker, we can expand that only the biological parent should be present at the child's IEP appointments as well as parent-teacher conferences.
Yes, Your Honor.
Add that language. Now, with respect to parenting time, is this the prior parenting time order, Mr. Goldman, was there was a week 1, week 2 parenting time? Will that continue, or is this simply just modifying Sunday parenting time?
It's continuing, and then we're just making one of the days, so the Sunday on week 2, an additional 3 hours.
Okay. Mr. Walker, we can clarify this. It's just for the court's reference going back on this. Maybe after Mother's Saturday, summer parenting time, Sunday parenting time, which should be 12 noon to 6, and maybe just a prior parenting time order of March 5th shall continue. Well, that's just simply just a modification of the Sunday parenting time. Rather than 5 days, it's noon to 6.
I can do that, Your Honor.
Okay, just thank you. Just so the court's okay. And what about the video calls? Was that supposed to be reasonable liberal, or is there any specific days of the week that video chats occur?
Just on the days that I have the kids.
Okay. Right now, your phone is not working.
No,
Mr. Gibson, the camera's not working.
Sorry.
Mr. Gibson, right now the video feature of your phone is damaged. Is that correct?
Oh, hold on. On my phone, I'm borrowing. Hold on a second.
I turned it off.
You can see me, correct?
I'm sorry?
You can see me, correct?
No, we can hear you because there was not very clear on audio, so your audio is much clearer with you just
Okay.
turning on audio. I'm asking you, now we can see you. Right now, your cell phone, the camera version is damaged, is that correct?
Yeah, my front and back camera are damaged. I gotta call my AT&T insurance and see how much the deductible is to get it fixed.
Okay. But right now, you're borrowing someone's phone, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was it your wife's phone?
I'm borrowing my mom's phone at the moment.
Does your wife have a phone?
Yes, but she's not here at the moment.
Well, I mean, I don't want to drag out these video calls for 2 months until you figure out the insurance. Can't you borrow some of your mother's phone or your wife's phone?
I mean, yeah, I can always do that. I was just saying until then, I do need to call and make sure that I can get my phone fixed. Though.
Well, but that's a secondary issue. So I don't think this should not be contingent upon you figuring out your insurance. So perhaps we can eliminate that's the provision, Mr. Walker, about the phone. I mean, the video chat should continue as previously ordered. So either you make it happen, Mr. Gibson, and that'll give you some incentive to figure out your insurance. But in the meantime, borrow your mom's phone or your wife's phone.
All right.
Is that workable?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Your Honor, let me check with my client. Jordy, does that work for you?
Yep, that's fine.
And otherwise, I don't want there to be a 6-week delay for video calls, Mr. Coleman, because you're not getting an answer from his insurance company or he doesn't have time to contact them. There should be video contacts at 6:30. All right, so the prior parenting time order will continue. The only revision is that the video chats shall start at 6:30 p.m. and the mother's Sunday parenting time shall be noon to 6 p.m. All right, Mr. Gibson, do you have any questions for the court?
I mean, I feel like pushing 6 hours. I mean, I was trying to work, but he still just wants 6 hours. I feel like it's pushing it a little extra. I was trying to meet in the middle somewhere, but it sounds like you approved it. So.
No, and now again, this is your opportunity. If you believe this recommendation is not your child's best interest, now's the time to address. You have 2 children, 5 and 2-year-old.
Yes. I think that we're a little fast, but her lawyer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm sorry, what was your first statement?
I said, I feel like them going for 6 hours when they're only used to going for 3. Why don't we just push it up an hour and a half more? I'm trying to meet in the middle. He wants to keep it right at 6 solid. So I was showing my opinion out there.
Okay. Does this disrupt your children's meals or nap time or what?
I mean, nap time, possibly, but meals, I always make sure they eat. That's never a problem.
Okay, obviously what we're trying to accomplish here is that the minor children can spend as much time with each parent as possible to maintain that relationship. Of course, there'll still be the prohibition, Chris Dotson shall not be present during mom's parenting time. You understand that, Ms. Schmitz?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, I mean, he's got to, on these Sundays, he's got to be out of that home between the hours of noon and 6. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that going to be a problem?
Nope.
Okay, because one way we resolve that, we shorten the parenting time.
Understood.
And so let's give it a try, Mr. Gibson. If in fact, the court, you need to convince this court that it's not in the best interest of your child. So we're going to keep that restriction in place. Any prior orders not inconsistent with this recommendation will be continued full force in effect. Chris Dotson shall not be present during parenting time. If you find out that he's present, you need to bring it to the court's attention. We will reduce mom's parenting time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything further this morning, Mr. Goldman?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you want to voir dire your client regarding this recommendation? Is it necessary?
I don't believe it's necessary.
All right, the court will adopt the recommendation. We're simply going to delete the provision about the fixing the cell phone. Mr. Gibson will make arrangements with his mother's or his wife's cell phone to continue the video contacts between mom and minor child. And that will conclude this hearing. You can all zoom out. Have a good rest of the day.
Your Honor, do we need to set an upcoming review hearing?
Do we need another review hearing?
I would request one, yes.
Okay, how many review? I mean, the court is a busy document, so we can't keep every case having a review every month. So,
You could push it out 3 months, but I do just want to make sure that we are continuing to expand mom's time.
okay. So we can add a review date, so it's sometime in,
August.
okay, we'll do that.
Okay, I have Tuesday, August 13th. It's totally open.
Hey, Alex.
Hold on. August 13th, is that work with your schedule, Mr. Goldman?
It does for me. I don't know about Jordy.
Is there any way we could do a 2-month? Do it a little sooner so we can expand my time for summer? Do it like maybe the middle of July?
Sure. I have Tuesday, July 16th at 9:30 or 2.
9:30 works for me.
That works.
Okay, so Mr. Walker, if you can put in here the court review, parenting time, July 16th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gibson? Mr. Gibson, you had a question?
Yeah, I also wanted to bring up that I signed him up for summer school. I don't know if I would hope that his mom is okay with it, but I do also have the dates for his 3 sessions of summer school. If you guys
communicate that, hopefully you've already told mom about this summer school. You got to communicate those things.
I just got the dates today. I was going to tell you guys the dates.
Okay, why don't you tell us the dates then?
First session is June 17th through the 27th, Monday through Thursday, 8:50 to 3:05 p.m.
Perhaps you can text that to her so she has something in writing.
I believe I already did text it to her, but I can retext it to her. That's not a problem.
Ms. Schmitz, are you aware that he's got summer school? Yeah, do you have the dates and times?
Yes, he informed me after he enrolled him in summer school.
Okay, well, any objection to summer school? They should have advised you at the get-go. Any objection?
Nope, I don't object to it. I just would like to be informed before he makes decisions.
That's a yes. You need to discuss these things in advance, Mr. Gibson. So will this date in July, is that going to interfere with his summer school?
I mean, his second session is July 8th through the 18th, same times. And then the third session is July 22nd through August 1st, same times.
Right. But again, he doesn't need to be here for the court. Are you both here?
I just want to, that's all.
All right. What time on July 16th? So July 16th, 2 o'clock will be the review for parenting time.
Okay.
Again, unless he's got to be picked up at 2 o'clock.
Oh, I believe it's buses. I believe they still have buses in the summer, so I'll just pick them up at the bus stop.
Right.
Or have someone in my family go down and pick them up at the bus stop if I have court that day. At that time.
So please communicate with each other about these things. Right. So Mr. Walker put a review date then July 16th, 2 o'clock. Attorney Alex Goldman, representing the plaintiff's mother, Ms. Sanderson Schmitz. Ms. Sanderson Schmitz is present. In addition, defendant father Joshua Gibson is also present. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
The parties have conferred with Monroe County front of the court. Patrice Patrick, who has provided the court with the following recommendation that plaintiff's mother's current parent time will continue as previously ordered, which, as the court recalls, was every week 1, Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 5 to 8. Week 2, Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, 5 to 8, and Sundays, and noon to 6. A prohibition on the significant other being present in presence of the children is vacated.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Further, it's recommended that the order is provide that neither party shall disparage or make negative remarks about the other party, nor allow third parties to make disparaging remarks about the other parent in presence of the children. That is the recommendation. Mr. Goldman, is this recommendation agreeable with your client this afternoon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Mr. Gibson, do you understand the recommendation?
I understand it, but I disagree.
Okay, what do you disagree? Mom, the parenting time continuing for mom, or the boyfriend being present, or what?
She can't even, she has missed, okay, if you calculate it, in the
hey, hold on, Mr. Gibson, why don't you break down what part of the recommendation do you disagree with? You don't think mom should have any parenting time?
Oh, no. She can have her parenting time. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, hold on. The first part of the recommendation, parenting time will continue as ordered. Do you have any objection to that?
Absolutely not.
What is your objection to this Chris Dotson being present?
Absolutely.
Okay, now we can communicate now. Okay, what is your objection to Chris Dotson being present?
Well, her parenting hours, like you said, she only gets Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, week 1, 5 to 8 p.m. Week 2, she gets
Yes,
Monday.
the court's aware of the hours, yes.
Okay, so that's only 24 hours in a month. 48 the last month. She has only done a fourth of her parenting time since the last time we went to, or she has missed a fourth of her parenting time. Sorry, Your Honor. She has missed a fourth of her parenting time since the last time we went to court. I think she needs to focus on it just being her and the children during her parenting time. You only get so much. I feel like it should just be between you and the children. Focus all your energy on the children at that time.
The court does not disagree, Mr. Gibson. The court's trying to recall why was that prohibition in there in the first place? What happened?
Married man, and she was dating a married man, and I just don't think that's appropriate. I mean, of course now, but he's never met my children, Your Honor. Our children, Your Honor.
Right, Mr. Goldman, with whom does your client reside?
With Mr. Dotson, and they go.
Right. Oh, sorry, you go ahead. Go ahead. I apologize.
With Mr. Dotson, and they go between her grandmother's home and his mother's home.
That is a lie. That is a lie, Your Honor. I see her get picked up every single day from that man's house, dropped off from work from that man, picked up before pickup at that house, dropped off after pickup after drop off at that house. The only time that woman goes to her grandma's is for the parenting time.
Okay, so do you believe parenting time should be only at the grandmother's home?
Oh no, they could go. This has nothing to do with the parenting time. This has everything to do with he doesn't need to be around while she's focusing on her parenting time.
Okay, all right, that's a valid point. And Mr. Goldman, what about that? Why it is pretty limited parenting time. A couple hours mom should be focused on these children. They are 5 and 2, 5 and 3. They're your young children. It's a valid point.
And JJ will be 3 in December.
Okay, Mr. Goldman, is your client engaged to this Mr. Dotson?
Yes, they'll be married in October, Your Honor. Okay. But also,
well, maybe you can come back in October, but the court's going to agree with Mr. Gibson at this time. Mom's focused on the children. She didn't need did she need help with your boyfriend?
No, and Your Honor, her intent is not for Mr. Dotson to be present at all times. But for example, if she takes the children to the park, that would seem to be an appropriate time for them to gradually be introduced to Mr. Dotson. You know, he hasn't met them at all over the previous 2 years. She's respected that boundary, but we just think the absolute prohibition is unnecessary going forward.
I still disagree.
I would note, Your Honor, we were prepared to request no further hearings today and just continue with this as the order. But if you would like to set a further hearing, we would respect that.
Well, Mr. Gibson, obviously, if Ms. Schmitz marries this person, that changes the equation. You understand that?
I was told the same thing. That's a different story. We could face that up to.
Your Honor, Mr. Gibson just married his wife 2 months ago. When we filed, his girlfriend was living and acting as a surrogate mother to the children.
No, she was not.
It would be a double standard to apply that to Ms.
That's told you, but that
Mr. Gibson,
Sorry,
Mr. Gibson, do not interrupt, please.
Yes, sir.
Just button it, let Mr. Goldman finish, and I'll give you a chance to respond. Mr. Goldman?
Yes, Your Honor. All I was saying is that the children lived with Mr. Gibson and his girlfriend for several months before they got married.
That is not true.
Which part of that is not true?
I have never lived with my girlfriend. I went over there and stayed the night, but my address has never been over there. The kids have never, they've stayed the night there once or twice or 3 times, but they have never lived there. They have lived here their entire lives.
Your Honor, that is a lie.
That is not a lie. Just because I don't have legal representation to prove that I'm not lying, but that doesn't mean I'm lying. I'm telling the absolute truth. They have lived here their entire lives.
We could hold an evidentiary hearing on this matter.
And last time I checked,
Your Honor, I think it's easier and simpler for everybody to just allow Mr. Dobson. Let's trust Ms. Sonics and Schmidt's discretion, which up to this point has been stellar. Trust that she's going to continue to focus on her children, but gradually introduce Mr. Dotson into their lives, and no further hearings needed at this time.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Gibson.
How can you focus your energy on your children when you've got someone else around? They need her full undivided attention, not his.
Mr. Gibson, how did you focus on your children when your girlfriend was around?
she worked, and I also was with them all the time. What do you mean? I focused on
Mr. Gibson, you're not present during mom's parenting time. How do you know she's not giving the children her undivided attention?
based on all the hours that she's missed and gave up.
Okay, well, she's choosing not to exercise on parenting time, but when the children are with her, how do you know she's not giving undivided attention to the children?
I'm not saying that at all. I haven't said that.
I'm sorry. Hold on, Mr. Gibson. That's what you're saying. You're saying that this Mr. Dotson, if he's present, she's not going to be able to give her undivided attention to the children. And I'm saying, how do you know when he's there that she's not going to?
Because assuming. I mean, no. I mean, when Jordan. Would you like to talk to Jordan when he comes home from school, and ask him how he feels?
I'm sorry. Who? Ask who?
Jordan, our oldest.
Is he afraid of Mr. Dotson?
He tells me that all the time, and that mommy talks to them on the phone when they're even supposed to be on the phone with him. Now, why is my 5-year-old coming home and telling me? I wasn't even going to bring that up, but since we're going to continue this on, I will bring it up.
I'm glad Mr. Gibson raised that point. How are the children afraid of somebody they haven't met unless Mr. Gibson has been poisoning them against Mr. Dotson this entire time?
Chris Dotson has put his hands on me in front of both of my children, and there is proof. My sister has proof. My mother has proof. The neighbors have proof.
Okay. Did you file a police report if he assaulted you, Mr. Gibson?
No, I did not. That was my stupid.
Done. All right. Right there again. Has there been any incident where Mr. Dotson has been engaged in any assault or domestic violence in the presence of the children? Did this occur in the presence of the children, Mr. Gibson?
I mean, not that I know of, but
all right. Well, that's what the courts to look at. If in fact there's been some inappropriate conduct in the presence of the children. But obviously, Miss Sunshine probably wants the children present at her wedding. I mean, that's appropriate. The children should be present at her wedding. And I'm saying, what day is the wedding, Mr. Goldman?
I'll defer to my client.
October 28th.
Okay. Where are you getting married?
I'm unsure of the location currently. We're still in the process of planning that part.
Well,
I disagree. I'm sorry. I'm standing my ground. I'm tired of being pushed over. I'm standing my ground. I disagree.
All right. Well, at some point in time, it's going to change, Mr. Gibson. At this point in time, it sounds like this October 20th is a very questionable date. It's like, well, we're sort of thinking of that. We don't have any plans yet. We're getting married or where the reception is. So at this point in time, the court will be with Mr. Gibson, where the court will keep in that prohibition. We can review this in mid-October. If Ms. Sunshine Schmidt has got details of wedding, then obviously the children can be present at that wedding, Mr. Gibson. If she's going to marry this person, and again, unless you have some evidence that this person is a danger to the children or has acted inappropriately in the presence of the children, if he's assaulted Miss Sonnenschen Schmitz, if he's assaulted her in the presence of the children, or he's done something inappropriate, then that's a whole different ballgame. But at some point in time, they're going to have to get to know this person, especially if he's going to marry their mother.
Okay.
So the prior order of this court, and not only specified mom's parent time, but it still allows for video chats with the children at 6:30. Has that been occurring?
Yes, absolutely.
So only biological parents should be present at the children's IE appointments and parent-teacher conferences. That's parents only. Miss Patrick, if you can modify your recommendation, is simply that all prior orders shall remain in full force and effect. Neither party should make any disparaging remarks, which that's review in middle October. How about the morning of October 16th? Are you available, Mr. Goldman?
I am.
About 8:30 on October 16th. Mr. Gibson, does that work with your schedule in the morning, October 16th? That's a Wednesday.
8:30. That'll be around school time. Can we push for like 9?
We can do 9 o'clock.
That's good for me, Your Honor.
All right. So we're going to add to this recommendation that we'll review parenting time October 16th at 9 a.m. Mr. Gibson, unless there's some, like I said, unless you have some evidence that Mr. Dotson is a danger to the children or has exhibited conduct which is harmful to the children, and mom has a confirmed wedding date, the court's going to allow him to be present. Until then, the court will continue. All prior orders of this court shall continue. Mr. Dobson shall not be present. Video chats, 6:30 between mom and the children, and mom's parenting time is previously stated. Anything further, Mr. Goldman?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gibson, anything further this afternoon?
Oh, no, not that I can think of right now. I think we're all good.
And Jordan can still keep a phone in his possession during mother's parenting time for emergency purposes. So yes, the priorities of this court going back to March 5th, those will all continue. We're reviewed on October 16th, 9 a.m. All right, that will conclude. You can all zoom out with the court for the purpose of reviewing parenting time. I got enough stuff up here. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Leah Worker representing the plaintiff, Mother Jessica Fent. Ms. Fent is present. In addition, Father Daniel Fent is present. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
The last time we were in court, February 15th, Father Mr. Fent did not appear. Court entered an order suspending his parent time, entered an order that he undergo a comprehensive psychological evaluation as well as substance abuse evaluation, but he's appeared today. Mr. Fent, have you moved?
No, I have not moved. I was in treatment during that court date. I got out Friday, so I've had very little time to get information on that to that effect. But I did go to my primary care physician on Monday at 3:45 and asked him to find me a comprehensive psychiatric. I, in fact, showed him the order, psychiatric and substance abuse treatment. He recommended Harbor Light and Dr. Memon. So we got an appointment at 4:30 with a counselor, and I'll have to make a future appointment with him when I go tomorrow at 4:30. That's at least what I was told by the receptionist there. But I am actively trying to look for some kind of comprehensive check into my mental health.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're taking the steps in the positive right direction, Mr. Fent, because we want you to have a relationship with your son, Noah. The recommendation this afternoon from Ms. LaPrade is that your parenting time remains suspended until you provide the proof of your alcohol and mental health treatment, as well as a comprehensive psych value assessment before your parenting time is reinstated. And further, that all communication between you and mom will be via app close only regarding the minor child. That's a recommendation, but we're going to add to this a review date. You think we'll have some of those documents within what, 45 days, 60 days, Mr. Fent? Any idea?
I should be able to get something like that done within the next 30 to 45 days.
Okay, well, that's the court wants to restore this relationship between you and your son, so we're going to set this for a review maybe the end of June.
That sounds fine.
Okay, all right.
I have Wednesday, July 3rd at 9 o'clock or 1:30.
Ms. Worka?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm not available on the 3rd.
Okay, what time? Ms. LaPrade, are you still there? Can you add one sentence in this rec?
Yes, sir, I'm typing.
Thank you. Yeah, review on July 3rd.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm not available on July 3rd. I could do the week prior if that's an option.
Right, let's go the week before.
June 26th, it's a Wednesday at 10:30.
That works for me, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Ms. LaPrade, the review will be on June 26th, Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. All right, so Mr. Fent will mail you a copy. We'll have the date in there, so you come back, and hopefully when you get those reports, forward a copy to Ms. Worka, so she's got that.
I will do so, Judge.
All right, so and whatever program you just completed, you want documentation of that too? Was it an inpatient program you just completed?
Yes, unfortunately, there was an incident that the county sheriff's got involved, and I had to be removed from the program. Not because of me, because of another client. That's why I'm back here in the States. It's unfortunately a whole thing, and I'm trying to get it all figured out, and I will try and get that information to the court. It's just going to take me a little bit of time talking with the county sheriff's department, things like that. I mean, there was a few things that went on, but I have been sober for the last 30 days. I just need a little time to get that information to you.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll be back here on that date. We'll send you a copy of this order. Anything further this afternoon, Ms. Worka?
Not at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Fent, I'll close hearing. We'll mail a copy of this, and we'll see you soon. And you're moving in the right direction, so I'm pleased to hear that.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. Right. You can zoom out. Hey, everyone.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Parties have conferred this morning with Ms. Patrick from the front of the court. Please provide the court with fine recommendation. That father's parenting time will continue to be suspended, and he will petition the court once he's completed the court-ordered drug and alcohol assessment, as well as a comprehensive psychiatric evaluation. believe that was ordered back in May of 2024.
That's correct, Your Honor.
The court can only assume that Mr. Fent has not made any progress toward that. That's the reason why the court said this review is that hopefully Mr. Fent would be moving forward in that direction so we could reestablish some limited parenting time. Mr. Fent, do you understand the recommendation?
I do, Your Honor.
Your response?
I have been having some major disconnects with getting in touch with the providers from prior to May, and the actual assessment and drug and alcohol evaluation and mental health assessment. I guess I just didn't quite understand exactly what was needed to be provided. I'm sorry. I know that ignorance is not acceptable, but I genuinely just did not know, and I wasn't entirely sure as to what was needed to supply to her attorney. I thought it was just the fact that I completed the program and that there was an assessment done. I was not aware that the full assessment had to be presented to her in the court. That's what I understood from the beginning.
Well, have you secured an assessment, substance abuse and
right now I'm
assessment?
I'm currently in a intensive outpatient program that does also have a mental health and substance abuse program. They're separate. I have talked to a nurse practitioner. I have talked to a therapist, and I am undergoing that treatment right now. I'm seeing the IOP program on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I guess from what I understand, that it needs to be a psychiatrist. So I am seeing the nurse practitioner tomorrow, and I'm going to see if I can see their psychiatrist there, who is a PhD. Once again, I just don't know exactly what I need to provide to the court.
Well, it seems like you're moving in the right direction, Mr. Fent. So, Mr. Work, have you received a copy of the assessment that Mr. Fent's referring to?
Your Honor, we've received no verification or documentation of any kind from Mr. Fent that he has engaged in or completed any form of mental health or substance abuse treatment or any evaluations. To the best of my knowledge, Your Honor, a nurse practitioner is not qualified to do a comprehensive psychiatric evaluation. Mr. Fent has alleged that he's been in an IOP program, which again, to the best of my knowledge, is not where one would have a comprehensive psychiatric evaluation completed. So I don't believe that those have been done. He also hasn't provided any verification of the IOP attendance. Mr. Fent has a history of making misrepresentations to this court. So absent any form of documentation, I don't have reason to believe that he's completed any sort of evaluation from anyone.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Fent, once you complete this program, you need to provide some documentation, the document or a report that verifies what you've done, that you've been engaged in this intensive outpatient program for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever, that you successfully completed all requirements, that the prognosis is good. We need some positive written reports to verify all these things. And secondly, when you meet the nurse practitioner, you need a full psychiatric evaluation. Some of the issues that have been raised by Ms. Fent in the past to address those. So I guess we need two things. One, you're a alcohol and substance abuse assessment once you complete the intensive outpatient, as well as any documentation showing that you're also you're addressing mental health issues. We just want you to have a good relationship with your son, Noah, and that Noah will be safe in your presence. So we can't move forward in terms of parenting time until you address those matters and get help for those issues to make sure that both you and the minor child are safe.
And so you're saying that I need to see a psychiatrist in order for that to be valid?
Yes, I believe that'd be the appropriate person. So talk to the nurse practitioner about that. You've been sent orders in the past. In terms of, it says your parent time should remain suspended pending proof of your alcohol and mental health treatment, in addition to a comprehensive psychiatric assessment.
I didn't have documentation. I mean, I was even asked that question yesterday by the person who runs the group if I needed any information, and I wasn't sure what to say to her in that instance. Is that something that I can provide to the court and Ms. Rorka? And is there anything we could do in that regard? I just didn't really know what to provide, to be honest with you.
Well, you take a copy of this order to your providers and tell them what you need. Again, when are you going to complete the intensive outpatient? Is that ongoing? Are you completed in 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks. It should be done. What I was told, the week of July 8th is when I'll be finished with the IOP program. And yes, I will be definitely bringing that up to the nurse practitioner tomorrow when I see her. I'll have to look at the exact time, but I believe it's in the morning sometime. I've also brought it up to her previously, and I guess I wanted to wait and because I had the appointment on the 27th, I did want to ask the court because I thought, would that be enough? I didn't really know. Now I know it's not. So I will make sure to push that issue and get a comprehensive psych evaluation done as soon as possible. But I am moving in the direction that you're suggesting, Your Honor. I really do want to be a part of my son's life. And I do understand that this is very important, and Noah's safety is very important to me. I'm just a little bit ignorant to the way things work in this system. I'm also reaching out to an attorney to try and represent me in the future because I do not have an idea what I'm doing here. And frankly, her attorney is eating me alive here. I don't really have a lot of legs to stand on. I'm doing the best that I can.
No, you're doing the right things, Mr. Fent. First of all, you've appeared, which is important. It shows you're interested, and the court believes in good faith. You are trying to address these issues that you perhaps just simply don't fully understand what you need. So take copies ordered to your treatment providers and talk to the nurse practitioner about getting a full psychiatric evaluation and assessment. And since you're moving forward in good faith in the right direction, the court will set this for review. We'll set it for review sometime in perhaps in August, late August. You're going to complete your intensive outpatient in July. It may take a month to get that assessment. So Ms. Patrick, the court will adopt the recommendation, but we'll give Mr. Fent a review date so he does not need to petition the court, and hopefully he can provide that documentation to Ms. Werka as well as the front of the court in the interim, Mr. Fent. So you need to provide that to Ms. Werka as well as the front of the court before we come back. So let's look for we'll put this back in our docket. The dates have gone. I'm thinking maybe August. In August, 13th, 14th, 20th, 21st.
I'm not available for that week in August or the following. Could we look at the week of August 26th?
Okay, August 27th or 28th.
Yep, I can do the 27th.
How about August 27th, Ms. Werka?
That works for me if the court has a morning, if possible.
About 8:30.
That works, Your Honor.
Mr. Fent and Ms. Fent, will that work at 8:30 in the morning, or is that not a good time? Do you want it later in the morning?
I honestly, I'll probably end up having to take the day off, so I'll make it work.
Well, we don't want you to take out time off work. When do you get off work, Mr. Fent?
Oh, 2:30 in the afternoon. So I mean, if it has to be in the morning, preferably, I can do that.
Have to be. You get off work at 2:15.
It ranges, Your Honor. I'm in automotive, so it could be 2:30, it could be 4:30, depending on part of the launch. So I have to take a day.
I can't do the afternoon on the 27th. I could do the afternoon on the 28th.
All right, we'll do the afternoon of the 28th then. 3 o'clock or 3:30, Mr. Fent? What's better? We'll give you time. We'll set it for August 28th at 3:30.
I don't want to say that I can make it, and then all of a sudden my job they could be like, you got to work till 4:30 today. You know, I would rather just take the day off and know that I'll be available for that day, and that's okay with me. I still get paid for it. I'll make sure I have them known in it. They'll know well in advance, and I'll be able to make it.
All right. Well, if you're going to take time off, we'll leave it then August 27th. Present is Attorney Leah Worker representing plaintiff mother Jessica Fent. Ms. Fent is present. In addition, Attorney Dinah Duncan White is also present, representing defendant father Daniel Fent, and Mr. Fent is present. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Your Honor.
The court recalls the matter was last adjourned for Mr. Fent to provide the court with a complete drug and alcohol assessment as well as a psychological evaluation. The matter was adjourned to today's date, and the parties have all returned and met with the front of the court, specifically Mr. Josh Walker. Mr. Walker has recommended the matter be again adjourned to September 24th. No time.
Apologize for that. It should be 8:45 in the morning.
8:45. Okay. Ms. Duncan White, is this recommendation agreeable with your client? Do you think we'll have everything in place by then?
We are trying very hard to arrange the psychiatric comprehensive exam. We are running into massive difficulties. The only place we found that would do it will cost $6,000 to $8,000.
Oh. Was there alternatives? I mean, we just.
That was what I was going to ask, Your Honor, this morning, was if you had any idea for alternatives, or if there's some place that the court works with on a regular basis. I was going to ask. I was going to ask Mr. Laddie McGrill here in Wayne County to do it, but he's retired, and he's the only person I know that did these for the courts on a regular basis.
It note that the last order Enterprise Court references the defendant completing a comprehensive psychiatric evaluation, perhaps something less, and I don't know exactly what that means, comprehensive psychological evaluation. For example, is he involved in mental health treatment right now with any provider?
Yes, he is.
I mean, what if we can even look at reports from those providers? Is it community mental health or is it private agency?
As long as Your Honor will accept something from his therapist or someone of that equivalent, then I think we can accommodate. But we were trying very hard to live up to the exact verbiage that was in the order, and we just could not do it.
Well, any reports will give Ms. Fent and the court some insight. I mean, it may not be acceptable, but the court suggests whatever documentation that your client can put together, at least is relevant.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will get on that.
And the court understands it's a pretty significant expense, $68,000. In the past, the number of orders that rendered, and one order was entered, Mr. Fent failed to appear. That was on April 17th. Then I think Mr. Fent that petitioned the court, as I recall, then to reinstate.
Uh-oh.
So is Mr. Fent currently engaged in alcohol, substance abuse, and mental health treatment?
Mental health. He was released from the place that he checked into with a clean bill of health.
Well, obviously, any discharge summaries, prognosis is still engaged in aftercare at this time?
He is engaged in psychological care at this time, yes.
What about aftercare, substance abuse aftercare? Outpatient?
Mr. Fent, was any of that recommended for you?
After getting the drug and alcohol assessments, his recommendation was that I continue going to therapy, seeing my nurse practitioner on a regular basis, making sure medications are in order, and attending outside meetings such as AA, Celebrate Recovery, things of that nature. I have been going to meetings 3 times a week.
Okay.
So I think Mr. Fent will provide that initial report and documentation that he is following through with the recommended aftercare. Those are all relevant, Ms. Duncan White. So he needs to get all that together and provide that to Ms. Sirurka as well as in front of the court, in this court, and then also any mental health provider. Those things are all relevant.
Great.
And the court understands. I think obviously we have a young child here, but it's important that we reestablish this relationship between the father and the child as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Of course, concerned about the delay this is taking. It's taken all summer. Ms. Worker, do you have any thoughts, input on that?
Your Honor, just as a point of clarification, the request for an adjournment was made by me this morning. I was notified of a family emergency just as I was logging into court this morning. And Mr. Fent and Ms. Duncan White agreed to accommodate that under the circumstances. I would say that just in light of the statements that have been made this morning, Mr. Fent has routinely throughout the course of this proceeding indicated that he's been in different forms of treatment and alleged that he's been receiving mental health or substance abuse treatment, but has not provided verification of that other than just his own statements. And so at a minimum, we would need to see some verification of whatever it is that he is claiming that he is doing at this time. As far as the psychological evaluation and the cost, our understanding is that Mr. Fent at some point in the past had that evaluation done at the University of Michigan, which was in network for his insurance, and to the best of our knowledge, his insurance provider has not changed. But that's something that I'm happy to discuss with Ms. Duncan White between now and the review hearing if there's some barrier or request for an alternative that's made. But at this point, my clients received no verification that Mr. Fent has been participating in any treatment. There's been some very concerning social media posts and messages to my client in app close just as recently as within the last couple of days. So that would not indicate to us that whatever level of care he is receiving is adequate to manage his mental health and substance abuse concerns.
All right, thank you, Ms. Orca. So Ms. Duncan White, we welcome your involvement to assist Mr. Fent in getting the documentation together. And you may want to suggest, Mr. Fent, that he shoot himself in the foot when people engage in social media comments. Simply no purpose served in that other than creating problems for himself. So in any event, with that, whatever documentation you get together, the court will certainly look at Ms. White and also discuss with her client if you had an evaluation from the University of Michigan a number of years back and covered by insurance. Maybe you can pursue that same route. The court will adjourn this matter to September 24th then at 8:45. Was that the time?
Correct.
8:45. All right. With that, everyone can zoom out. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Present. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Judge.
I believe one of the reasons why the matter was adjourned to today's date is to determine the status of a psychological evaluation or some type of evaluation to be secured by the defendant.
Correct, Your Honor. Mr. Fent searched several places and asked if they do court-ordered evaluations. They all told him he did not. He reported to me what the problem was that he was having. I have a paralegal who's an occupational therapist with a specialty in mental therapy and illness, and she reached out to some of her contacts. The only one person we could find in the area that did these court-ordered psych evals was $8,000 to $12,000. And so we kept searching. We finally went to Rivers Bend because that's where Mr. Fent has, been going for therapy. We explained this to the referee just before we came on here. She suggested Dr. Mystery in Ohio. She says that he does this testing. She said that she was going to be granting supervised visitation at family counseling and shelter. Mr. Fent is more than happy to, oblige the court's desires and orders, but he simply can't afford something that expensive. And I'm hoping that Dr. Mystery will be within his insurance network so that it'll be something that he can afford to do if the court does not accept Rivers Bend, which I received from him last night and faxed over to your office this morning at approximately 8 o'clock.
Okay, I've not seen anything. Ms. Duncan White, and I think we had this discussion August 7th. The court indicated the court's willing to accept something less than a full-blown psychological evaluation. Is something that shows that Mr. Fent is being treated for mental health issues. And then they're being addressed. So, and I've not seen anything. So if something was delivered, I am not sure where it was delivered to, but it was not the court this morning. In any event, the parties have conferred this morning. The court's received do you have a phone number for Dr. Mystery? Ms. White?
I do not at this moment.
Okay, I'm sure probably Google it, or maybe Mr. Pratt can provide you with a phone number for Zubin. I believe it's Zubin Mystery. I know he's been involved in other Monroe County Family Court cases in the past. I don't have a phone number offhand, but the recommendation of Mr. Pratt this morning is that the father's parenting time should be supervised at family counseling shelter services until such time as there's a full alcohol and psychiatric evaluation.
Now,
circuit court fund will pay for the intakes, and the non-custodial parent shall pay for the visits.
When you order,
pay for the visits, but the circuit court will pay for the intakes for both parties. And this recommendation also has a phone number for that agency, so the parties can both contact the agency. I can provide it on the record. It's 734 area code, Mr. Fent, 241-0180. I'd suggest call today, get on that list, so we can have some contact with the child.
Your Honor, I would like an opportunity to respond if I.
Yes, I'm just reading the recommendation. So Ms. White, is this recommendation good with your client this morning?
Yes, it is.
Right, Ms. Swerka.
Your Honor, it is not. My office, Ms. Duncan White, forwarded me the mental health records via email at 9:04 this morning. Mr. Fent underwent a self-reported evaluation on August 23rd, so just over a month ago, but it was just received this morning. It is all self-reported, and just in a preliminary looking over the document, Mr. Fent stated during this evaluation that he has had over 1 year of sobriety, which is absolutely untrue. That's been documented. He's admitted that in AppClose, and I believe on the record before this court. He also alleged that he's been attending AA 3 times a week and has a sponsor. Mr. Fent has said that in the past, and it was not true. He denied that he was drinking. He self-reported that work has been mildly affected by his symptoms. He has had over half a dozen inpatient or intensive outpatient substance abuse hospitalizations over the last couple of years. Within that evaluation, he also denied any psychosis or paranoia. He continued as recently as August 24th. So after this evaluation was done, he continued to post on social media paranoid delusions that Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, and Jordan Peterson were out to get him. We did not believe that
Objection.
he is mentally stable.
Objection. First of all, opposing counsel is not a psychiatric professional. And second of all, she's referring to things that she has not provided to me.
All right, those things in order for the record, Ms. Rorka, with this agency, it's supervised. First of all, there's a waiting list. It takes some time. The court like keep it on docket, so I'd like to add a review date sometime perhaps in November, early December to review plenty of time. But again, it's going to be supervised. That agency is not going to allow father to participate if in fact father is acting inappropriately or saying inappropriate things to the child.
Your Honor, I understand that, but Mr. Fent has been ordered to complete this since April. We keep coming back on review hearings. My client has had to, the time, the expense, review after review, and Mr. Fent has not done what he's been ordered to do. He's made multiple misrepresentations to this court over the course of this proceeding from the time the divorce was initially filed, and he's not followed through. We're simply asking that the court require him to follow through before instating supervised parenting time. This child is only 1 year old.
Your Honor, as you noted, as you recognized earlier in this hearing, you did say that, you know, if you could get some sort of report, any kind of report, and I'm sorry that my client didn't get this to me until last night, but I did forward it as soon as I got it to you this morning and to Ms. Rurley. But this is a report that fits your desires. You explained it last time, just something that tells us what's going on. Now, Ms. Prod has explained Dr. Mystery's existence to us. We are very happy to contact that doctor and proceed with the kind of review that you're normally used to. But Mr. Fent is jumping through hoop after hoop after hoop. He's trying to accommodate. He wants to see his child. This child's growing up and it's going to have no bond whatsoever with its own biological father who wants to know it.
All right, Ms. Rorke, you raised a good point that we keep coming back every couple months. We're not making progress. So at this time, the court will agree. We're not going to set a review date. So Mr. Fent will have to petition the court. Once he has all his ducks in line and he wants to petition the court for some normalized parenting time, he'll have to petition the court and provide all that documentation. The alcohol and substance abuse and the psychological evaluation that the court's been looking for. In the meantime, the court will allow supervised parenting time at family counseling shelter services with the Mr. Fent paying the cost of the visits. There is a waiting list, so the court suggests parties contact the agency and if in fact Mr. Fent acts inappropriately, Ms. Rorke, you're very familiar with the agency, they will discontinue those visits. But let's give it a try. So that this 1 year old child knows that there's a dad out there, but we won't set a review date. So with that, court will adopt the recommendation. That will conclude this hearing. Everyone can zoom out. Have a good rest of the morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor.